on a football Friday. Big Sills! And how you doing? You know, it's funny. I've been accused the last couple days of someone having given me a lollipop because Sills is, he's Big Sills is kind of sounding too reasonable. Okay? Now, I'm going to throw something out at you here. Okay? Obviously, the huge news last night was Devin White. How many people in here think that was a good sign and it addressed your linebacker position? Let's just say this. By the way, that is a great move. Josh Sweat restructuring his contract. Kudos. Both sides. Great job. Josh Sweat's your best and most complete defensive lineman you have. Until Jalen Carter shows us more, congratulations, Josh. Reddick's out. Fantastic. It's a great move. Not a good move. It's a great move. Okay? It's a great move. Okay? Great move. Now let's get to the Devin White move, who was beat out by KJ Britt by the end of the year. Guy lost his starting job. 4 of the 5 years, he had some of the worst grades in pro football. This is not an opinion. This is a fact. Most 25, 26-year-old players are working on a second contract with their respected team. He was the 5th pick overall. And let's put that into context. He signed a 1-year prove-it deal where Patrick Queen has signed a 3-year contract with the Steelers at $17.8 million a year. That's context. That's context. The Bucs moved from him because he's not good. Hey, and here's what really sucks about the player. Is he a more exceptional talent than Patrick Queen when it comes to athleticism? Absolutely. He may be one of the most athletic linebackers to come into the NFL in a long time. Unfortunately, 4 of the 5 years have been terrible. They've been terrible. So, how do you look at that when a guy was benched, lost his job, and the Bucs let him walk out the building, and he's the 5th pick in the draft? How is that a good sign by the Eagles? Where in the world do you honestly think? I'll give it to you if he had one bad season. He's had 4 straight. You want to hear something insane? Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham had higher grades on a shittier defense than what Devin White has had. And you're going to call that a good move? How? How is that a good move? You're not better. You're worse. He can't play the run. He can't cover. How are you better? This is not an opinion. This is everyone's evaluation on the player. Get this. When you're sitting in here telling me that I'm hating on something that everyone is saying, how do you validate what you're saying right now in the chat, or you're even listening to us? How are you validating it? How are you validating what you're saying, that I'm hating on a player who has blown for 4 of the last 5 years? How? How? So you signed the last guy left. We were saying this: William Gay Jr., Patrick Queen. Shit, who's the other guy? You know what even would have made more sense? Who was the former Eagle guy that Cleveland signed and Schwartz brought back? He may have been a former Eagle. You got Barb. You got what for free? A worse player? Big Rhythm says, Sills, you said the Eagles should trade for him. I said, why not look into trading for him? And then I watched him play the rest of the season. And once he got beat out, even the Bucks quit on him. Why would the Bucks quit on him? Dude, people came here today to defend Devin White's play when the Buccaneers and Howie are even telling you he's on a one-year prove-it deal. His career has been horrible. You're not looking at the reality of the player. My God Almighty, you're blinded by the name and his non-production and what people think of him. Even the Bucks with the 5th pick, a 26-year-old should be working on his second contract, not trying to have a prove-it one-year deal. As far as I'm concerned, he's Zach Cunningham. It's a terrible sign. It's an awful sign. After I talked to Sapp the last couple weeks, and Sapp said he never lived up to his opinion. And you know what you do when you're a guy like me and you're looking at it from afar and you see the tackle numbers in that 2020 season and you go, hey, he's putting numbers up. Then you watch him get beat up by KJ Britt. Then you start going, what? And I even put out a video yesterday, and I said the same thing. There's even character issues. There's even character issues. Will he play? Okay? He's not Dean, but he can't stop the run. I mean, KJ Britt is better. And here we go again. With maybes, he comes here and magically Jim Johnson Fangio turns him into Ray Lewis. Dude, this is absolutely insane that anybody validates that Devin White was a great sign. Anybody who validates that, like I said when I put that video out yesterday, we'll see. But so far, his career has been a D+ at best. He's a D+ guy. This guy's not, I agree with you, Flexen. Devin White's not moving the needle. He's not moving the needle. You know what was funny? Like I said, last year he had a value on the street of $20 million. Then all of a sudden, people started looking at who he really was. That thing devalued to a point where he was a third-day guy. And you start looking at his numbers and you start putting them together and you start really breaking the player down. He's not good. He's just not good. He's not good. Devin White, who can't stop the run. Nakobe Dean, who can't stay healthy and play. Man, you got to really look at this shit and go like this. That guy hasn't done dick on defense. He hasn't done anything. Horrific sign. Hey, the Josh Sweat restructure, excellent. Gardner Johnson, we're going to get into pretty much the first week here. Hey, that's a great one. Steve, thank you for reminding me. I think you're one of the best in the business, Hills, but did you not say that you should go for White? Who would you recommend for the Eagles go for as linebacker? I said that you should go for White last year. I did. Okay, but then when he got beat out by KJ Britt, and by the way, he reminds me that, hey, we've been missing too many super chats, and we apologize for that. Xander's been getting on me about it. So just do me a favor. If you have a super chat, we will definitely hit them all, and we'll make sure we get them, and we'll make sure we hit on them, okay? I mean, we were talking about going out and getting William Gay. We were never talking about going out and getting anybody that the organization wasn't going to pay big money for. We never have ever said, last year we did, to go get Devin White. Patrick Queen was out of the realm of possibility. So you know what we said? William Gay, players like that, because that's the affordable. I'm even shocked at how he threw $7.5 million at this guy. Okay? Horrific sign. The guy can't play. He can't play. Hey, get this. Here's the thing. Name me one guy who says he's had a great career in Tampa or a good career in Tampa. Name me one. Name me one guy who said he's had a great career. For the 5th pick overall. Name me one. By the way, it's one thing to sit and come at me. Why would you come at me for a guy who was sucked? Why would you come at me for a guy who was sucked? Look, one of the things here. One of the things here is where he said that we're going to develop him in Philly, says Moore. You've never developed a linebacker in your entire time over the last 10 years. But all of a sudden now, you're going to develop a guy who was with one of the better defensive-minded guys in Todd Bowles, and you think you're going to develop Devin White. Here's one thing, too. You can't develop players on that side of the ball. You absolutely... Devin White sucks. His career has been D+. When you break the player down, and then you hear all the people talking, and then all I had to do was call Bruce Arians. And Bruce Arians told me, Dan, this guy is a combine freak. We saw him at the combines. We couldn't believe what we were watching. It's kind of what Howie did when he fell in love with Jordan Davis. And I told you from day one, Jordan Davis will only be a first and second down player for the rest of his career. He'll only be a first and second down player. And so far, that's exactly what he's been. Okay? Look at C24. You just doubt. No, the player has not performed. As of right now, Devin White has been a bust. As the 5th pick in the draft, Devin White has been a bust. Why in the... Most of your signs on defense have sucked. As a matter of fact, let's go to it. By the way, Angelo Cataldi, 330. And then the greatness of Philly Godfather will join us at 5:30. Yes, sir, baby. Yes, sir. Angelo Cataldi will join us. That'll be at 3:30. Sweat restructured. He gets $10 million guaranteed and a chance to make $13 million bucks. Good for him. And I think that's a market value deal. I mean, I think that's under market value. That's a really good contract. That is. That's probably your best move you've made on defense so far. Eric Kendricks in Dallas is better than White. By far. By far. I don't give a shit what a Gator boy thinks, Howie. My faith. Whatever. What's LB's on our rosters better than White? Zach Cunningham? Zach Cunningham had a higher grade and a higher rating. How's that for you? Zach Cunningham had a higher grade. Devin White, 5th pick in the draft at LSU, has been terrible 4 of the 5 years in Tampa. Everyone's been saying sign it. Here, let's move on here. So the Eagle free, Prince, he's an improvement from last year's season. We tend to focus on the negative, but he has a 2.4 against the cap. What is the potential upside here, Sills? Gee, stop fucking crying. Let's see how it plays out. Dude, you didn't upgrade anything. He's not good against the run and can't cover. He's been terrible 4 of the 5 years, and it's a 1-year prove-it deal, and it's a $7.5 million nothing burger deal. This doesn't move the needle. I have never praised Devin White except for the 2020 season when they won the Super Bowl, and he got home with 9 sacks. That's not been true. And when you saw last year, he had an $18 million cap hit. I put a video out yesterday. When I found out he's got character issues, that's when I paused. I didn't know he had character. I don't cover the Bucs. And when I started talking to Sapp, and I talked to Bruce Arians last night, Bruce Arians said the kid never panned out. And now you're going to try to validate it? When a kid, you look at Patrick Queen. Think about something here with Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen went to Pittsburgh on an $18 million contract. This guy here goes to Tampa on a $7.5 million 1-year prove-it deal. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Here, let's do this. Eagle free agent defensive signings. This smells of desperation. This sounds of desperation. The Bryce Huff deal, heck of a pass rusher. This means Josh Sweat, now that he's restructured, Reddick is totally out. So you're going to run a 34 with 2 guys who can't play the run? You're going to line up with a defense with 2 linebackers who can't play the run and 2 edge rushers who can't play the run and 2 guys who struggle playing the run at the end of the season. That's going to be your defensive front 7? That is not a good look. You don't have enough talent. And BG's the other end. You got an old guy playing end. You got one guy who's fat and out of shape. You got another guy who's going to be a stud. You got Josh Sweat who's good. And you got 2 outside pass rushers who can't play the run. They can't play the run. You said, right, White had character issues. He has character issues. Steve, he has been bad for the 5 years. That's not an opinion. How do you justify that? What you just did, Steve? How about this? No matter what I say, how do you justify a guy who has not played well for the 5 seasons? How do you justify that? How do you justify that he hasn't played well for the 5 seasons? Whatever you want, hey, whatever you want to say to me, how do you justify that? How do you justify, hey, get this. How do you, no matter what anybody's saying in here, justify the signing? Justify it for me. Okay, I'll stop talking. Tell me why it's a good sign. He had 1 bad year? Not true. He's had 4. And the Bucs moved from him. Do me a favor. Not 1 bad year. 4. 4 bad years out of 5. 4. Some of the worst ratings. Playing the run and defending the pass. Worst. Over 4 of the last 5 years. Chris says, because we need a linebacker. That's desperation. That's desperation. Hey, man. Talking to some of you people is like talking to a fucking rock. You can't justify this move, even if it's a 1-year deal. It's a desperation move. The guy's not good. He's not good. He's just not good. Okay, and again, when you're not covering a team, I don't know all the particulars until you start looking at a player once you get him. Now that we have, he hasn't been productive and the Bucs move. Dude, you don't move off of people. And get this, let me show you something when you have a good player. When Roquan Smith was dealt by the Bears to Baltimore, he got a $100 million deal and now makes $20 million a year. You're not really moving off of him. Okay? You're not moving off of him. Okay? Who said that? Frankie says PFF is not the end all be all. No, but the Bucs' decision to move him and let him walk into free agency, and he was the 5th pick in the draft, tells you all you need to know. Organization quit on him. He didn't have anything to bring to them. And you guys will look at it like this. And you guys will just look at it like this and go like this. Well, hey, you know, PFF ain't all the end all. Well, then why'd the Bucs move off him? Okay? Why'd they move off him? Why did the Bucs quit? Cost you nothing? So you're going to give a roster spot to a guy who doesn't deserve to be on the team. Okay, let's take a look at your free agent moves. The Bryce Huff move. Heck of a pass rusher. All you did was move Hassan Reddick's money to him. He's the same player, except with the less production of Reddick. If you're going to tell me I'd rather have kept Reddick and not have signed Bryce Huff. They're the same player. He can't play the run either. Everyone knows that's only the reason why he played 46% of the plays. They can't keep him on the field. I'd rather have kept Reddick before the Ravens got Roquan Smith. Patrick Queen was like Devin White. I understand your point, but do you want them to keep signing older players? It's a great point, Prince. Prince, it's a great point. It is. It's a great point, Prince. Okay? But here, hey, I'll say this to you, though, Prince. Bryce Huff, he's younger. He's Reddick 2.0. Huff is 25 years old on an $18 million contract. Not the same as Reddick, who's going to get 20. He ain't making $24, $30 million in an Eagle uniform. Okay? And I don't believe Reddick has got that market. Who's ever telling you that, in my opinion, I have no way, no how is that guy going to make that kind of money. Devin White has no upside. Bryce Huff, he's a one-dimensional player. They just moved money. Really, he's younger. They got younger for the same guy who's not as productive or hasn't been as productive as Hassan Reddick. So that's a wait and see. The Gardner Johnson move. Here's what I told you yesterday about him. He's out of position a lot. He gets turned around. But the one thing that he is, he's a tremendous playmaker. He's a ball-hawking guy who's always around the ball. And to me, I'll take some of the deficiencies when it comes to I'll take some of the deficiencies that comes around when it looks at, you know what? Get this. I see one thing that I agree on. LJ saying the national media is praising the Eagles. Yeah, last year the national media was saying that Brian Johnson and Sean Desai were going to get head coaching jobs. Same national media. We're saying that Brian Johnson and all those guys were doing a great job when they were 10-1. That those guys were going to be head coaches. Those guys were dummies. Okay? Dummies. Okay? You lost a lot of us downing the Barkley signing. I don't give a shit, Chris. I think the Barkley signing is okay. We'll see. I've not seen anything from him that makes me go, wow, he's not a wow player. He hasn't had a wow career. Now he has the chance. He's going to be on a superstar team. Okay, let's see it. Prove it to me. Prove it to me. His rookie year was good. Outside of that, I don't know. When he's been on bad teams. Okay, I get it. Other running backs like Josh Jacobs have been on shitty teams. And Josh Jacobs is a superior player to Barkley. Superior. There's nothing he has done in his career that remotely looks close to what Josh Jacobs has done on a Raider organization with all that bullshit and turmoil that's gone on. Barkley hasn't had the career. Who was the quarterback at the end of the Raider season last year? Does anybody know? And it wasn't Garoppolo. Who was the quarterback on the Raiders? I mean, Josh Jacobs has had a better career. He has. He's had a better career. And you know what you guys are saying? Because he went to Penn State and he was the second pick overall. Derek Carr was not the quarterback in Vegas. Try again. Hey. I mean, look at the production. Look at who he is. Josh Jacobs has never, everything Josh Jacobs has done has been superior to Barkley on a shitty team too. I mean, Saquon Barkley, we're going to find out. I don't believe the players who you think he is. We'll see. This guy has 1,500 yards. You're damn right you get an apology. But as of right now, I don't see it. I think he makes them better. Yeah, when healthy. I can't wait to see how they're going to spread the ball to him with a quarterback who can't throw screen passes and can't read defenses. This is going to be classic. You got talent for a drop-back quarterback, not an RPO quarterback, and he's still learning. The least developed player in your offensive huddle is Hurts. You know that? A.J. Brown is more developed. Devontae Smith is more developed. Dallas Goedert's more developed. Saquon Barkley's more developed. Hurts, as a passer, is not. He's not. Facts. He's the least talented offensive weapon that you have in your huddle right now. He is. Nobody on the planet right now thinks Jalen Hurts is a top 15 quarterback. Okay? Nobody. Hey, I don't think Brock Purdy is a top 15 quarterback. Maybe top 12, somewhere in there. Both of them, top 12. Okay? It's kind of, both of those guys are in the top 12 in there. Okay? How in the world can you have two 1,000-yard receivers and you can't throw for $4,000? I've never seen anything like it. You got Carson Wentz, who didn't have a receiver over 500 yards passing, and he threw for 4,000 yards and has a single-season passing record for the Eagle franchise. How's that possible? Carson Wentz was a better passer than Jalen Hurts. His numbers dictate it. And he had less weapons. Less weapons. Facts. No excuses. Okay, Bryce Huff, Xander, you want to get a laugh? Bryce Huff, CJ, and Devin White. What would you give Howie's grades the first week of free agency for defense? What would you give that grade? I can't wait to see this shit. I can't wait to see. That's right. Hurts hasn't sniffed 27 touchdowns. What are you talking, 30 touchdowns? What are you, crazy? Okay? Howie gets a B from Steve on defense. Have to admit it, though, Wentz. B plus. A big D. Hey, Chris, man. A. Sign a guy that the Buccaneers quit on. Okay? Here's what I say. Gardner Johnson and the restructuring of Josh Sweat. Everyone bashed you last year for being negative, saying you were wrong. Then we collapse. I'm starting to think you're right more than us fans admit, Sills. Future of men. Thank you. Players change. Coaches change. Environments change constantly. The NFL is ever evolving. It's not a science. There's no one month a player can be playing so well, the next month that player can hit a wall and it's over. It really is like the weather, the NFL, and the players and coaches. You could be Bill Belichick one week, and you could be Bill Belichick without a job. I mean, the greatest coach in the history of the National Football League got fired. Is he horrible? So what? The Patriots flip-flopped on Bill Belichick? Did they flip-flop on him? They fired the greatest coach in the history of the National Football League. They must have flip-flopped on him. Sills, I would never question your evaluation of linebacker since Dean, but would you rather not sign White and focus LB in the draft only? That's, hey, Big Rhythm, it's a fantastic take. It's a fantastic take. Sills, sign the guy. See what he brings to the table. Now, listen, let me play the other side of this for a second. Hey, man, he took a swing and signed him. Okay? He took a swing and signed him. I think he waited too long. I think he waited too long. Okay? Who was that guy that they signed and who was the guy that they signed? Was it Jordan Hicks? Was Jordan Hicks at one time an Eagle? He's back reunited with Jim Schwartz. You could have had Jordan Hicks. I know he's older in the tooth, and we were talking about not having plus 31-year-old guys. But, I mean, you could have had him 2 years, $8 million. Jordan Hicks is rated better and has had better seasons than Devin White. over the last couple of years. Okay? I mean, these are the kind of deals that I think Howie missed out on. Leonard Floyd, I know he's a little long too. I think Rams and Bills, 2 years, $20 million. He's a more complete ball player. I mean, when you look at teams like Pittsburgh, look at Pittsburgh, what they did. They signed Russell Wilson on a $1.2 million contract because the value of the player has to match what his production's been the last couple of years. And that's why the Buccaneers passed on Devin White, because what he was asking for didn't match his production. And that's why they walked away from him. Most people, okay? Most people that look at quality deals look at the money, because the resources that you use are going to be needed to fill other holes. Okay? C24 goes, Russell Wilson sucks. That's Russell Wilson, dude, had more touchdown passes and less interceptions than Jalen Hurts did a year ago. So what's your quarterback's excuse? With more talent. Think about what that guy just said. Russell Wilson sucks. And yet Jalen Hurts had twice the talent on his team, and he had worse numbers. And yet Russell Wilson sucks. How you doing, Big Sills? With everything that Howie has done with free agency, which isn't bad, but why can't that translate to drafting, or is he lucky? Good point. We signed him for $2.4 million, Sills. You're talking cap. You signed him for 7.5, but I get where you're at with the cap. Why doesn't that translate to the draft? Because Howie Roseman is a capologist. He's not a talent evaluator. He never has been. Howie Roseman perpetrates himself as a talent evaluator, especially on defense, and he's not. Now, the one thing that Howie does well, and what will always work well when you're a capologist or a money guy, you know why? Howie is spending money on people who are kind of proven and people in the league. Once you're in the league 2-3 years, whether or not he's a hit or miss guy, that part of the evaluation is gone. Howie's problem is that when he drafts a player in the draft, most of the time they're misses. At corner, linebackers, edge rushers, they're all misses. Every one of them almost. They're all misses. Every single one of his picks have been misses. You can't deny that. You can't. People are going like, Wilson's a head case. At $1.2 million, and I don't have to pay $37 million for him, and he's got Kenny Pickett in the room, that's a gamble I'm willing to take from the Steelers. $37 million, if I got to pay that, bringing him in, I'm not doing that. But at $37 million, I got nothing to lose. I got nothing to lose. Look at this guy. African Sir says online that Russell Wilson didn't have better touchdown numbers and interception ratio than Jalen Hurts last year. All you got to do is look it up, dude. That's not a lie. That's a fact. Hurts has never even, Hurts has never thrown for 28. And if Wilson had a suck-ass year, in a suck-ass year, he had 29 or 28 touchdown passes and 6 picks or 9 picks. Hurts had 15 turnovers and can't get to 25 touchdown passes. And he's got Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and he can't get there. Tell me how that works. Tell me how that works. Brian says, Sills, do you think a trade fell through and that's why they went with I don't know that. I don't know that. Okay? I don't know that. All I know is the Bucs quit on him. So would you have ripped Howie if he didn't sign your number one name on the free agent list? No, because what he did was he just replaced Reddick with probably and arguably one of the better pass rushers in Huff. But he's the same guy. You really haven't upgraded your team. Hassan Reddick will not be back on the Philadelphia Eagles. And if he is, it's a train wreck of a run defense. That's a train wreck defense. You'll win 5 games with that defense. 5 games. You got a linebacker who can't play the run and cover, and you got 2 guys who can't cover and play the run as your edge rushers. You got an old man playing one end, and you got Josh Sweat. Cool. Restructure, great. The rest of it, Gardner Johnson is an upgrade for sure. He's your best move so far in defense. Okay? Best move. Okay? And the Niners are better on defense? Superior better than you on defense. You don't have anybody in Fred Warner or Dre Greenlaw's league. You don't have anybody in Hufanga's league. You don't have anybody in Nick Bosa's league. You have nothing like that. 0. Not close. Not remotely close. Right now, as of March 15th, after the first week of free agency, you're not a playoff team. There, Xander. The first week, you're not a playoff team, even with the Barkley move. Because you moved money around for Huff. He's the same player as Reddick. The restructuring is good on Reddick. You didn't address the linebacker position. You just got a body. In your safety position, Gardner Johnson has made you a little better. Milton Along, Carter, those guys can run stop. They're never going to start Milton Williams. And by the way, are they going to extend Milton Williams? I sure hope not, so he can go somewhere else and play. Brown, Smitty, Goddard, Saquon, A+ O-line. If Hurts doesn't shine this year, it's a wrap. Steve, in my opinion, that's not the problem. NFC isn't too deep. Still a playoff team. Packers are going to be real good. That's Xander. He's right there. I mean, the other day when I was ranking the top 10 NFC teams, I couldn't come up with a 10th team. Okay? Barkley's licking his chops. How come? What was Barkley's record versus the Cowboys? 0-12? Was Barkley 0-12 versus the Cowboys? Mr. Greatness? Did Barkley ever beat the Cowboys? I think he's 0-12. And you think you're going to run. And the Cowboy defense is terrible against the run. I mean, Barkley's 0-10 versus the Cowboy defense. And you think he's going to run through the 49er defense? Okay. Even the Washington Commanders beat when Antonio Gibson beat the Dallas Cowboys. Antonio Gibson beat the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? Yeah. Fantastic. Bryce Huff, Gardner Johnson, and Devin White. Nobody on the planet thinks that sign's a good sign because nobody has thought that Devin White, hey, he's on a 1-year prove-it deal. If he was good, why didn't the Eagles give him a 3-year contract extension or give him a 3-year deal and put more money up front? Why aren't they doing that? If this is such a good sign, did you just see what they did with Joe Mixon in Houston? Did you see that, Xander? They made a trade for him, and as soon as they got him, they extended him 3 years. You see what Caserio did? They extended him 3 years. Gave him more money. Here, that's a good point. Let's move on to the next topic here. This is classic. You guys came here today because you knew I was going to kill the move because you know I'm right. And you're trying to defend something that you know is not right. This reminds me, Xander, of the whole Nakobe Dean bullshit last year we went through when everyone on my network, everyone in the Philly media was telling me how great Nakobe Dean was going to be, and it's going to be Dean's season. And I told you, if you're counting on that guy to be a star for you, you're going to be sadly disappointed. He won't finish the season on the active roster, and he didn't. It played out exactly like I said it would. It completely played out like I said it would with him. And so was this. Okay? And so was this. Now, let me ask you this. Let's ask a fundamental question here. This may be a little too difficult for some people. This may be a little too difficult for you. So if it is, you can sit it out. Okay? I mean, I get some of you guys, this is really going to be hard for you to comprehend. So you got a brand new edge rusher, correct? And Huff. There's Huff. You are going to have a new right end. Got to replace Brandon Graham. Right end. You got a new Mike linebacker. Okay, your Mike linebackers are going to be two guys that can't play the run. Devin White, Nakobe. You're going into battle with Nakobe Dean this year. Good night, Devin White. Okay. And now, you know what? I will say this. If they put Devin at the mic, and they move Dean over to Will linebacker, I might want to take a look at that. I might want to take a look at that. Okay? I might want to take a look at that. So I'm open to that. I'm open to it. Let's see here. Huff, you need a right end. Yeah, you need a Huff, a right end. You got to replace, or you replace Huff, or you replace Reddick with Huff. You need a right end. Your new Mike linebacker. You got a new safety. And you got a new DC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what else you got there. Kenny Pickett, 2 Eagles. Just traded for Kenny Pickett. Eagles traded for Kenny Pickett. I don't hate that move. I don't hate that move. Wow. The Steelers moved off of a mistake awful fast. Small hands Pickett. Pressure's on Hurts. Yeah! Holy cow! Woo! The pressure's on Jalen Hurts. Oh, my God. They traded a first-round pick. No, not a first. They traded for a former first-round pick. Now the pressure's on Jalen Hurts. Yeah! Small hands Pickett. Hey, man, you know what happens when you have small hands? Everything looks bigger in your hand. Woo! Jalen season. These are crazy-ass moves. Wow. This is crazy-ass moves. They just put pressure on your boy. Why would they do that? This is really... Oh, my God. Dude, this organization, I think Jeffrey Lurie must have kicked him in the nuts. Hey, we need to get this thing turned around. Hey, when that guy was buying a yacht, he wasn't just buying a yacht. I can't wait to get Angelo Cataldi on. Holy shit. Jalen Hurts now has Kenny Pickett chomping at the bit. Hey, wait till Kenny Pickett gets into an offense with a good O-line, Saquon Barkley, and some good pass. He might actually be good. Holy cow. Hey, look what Chris says. Just a backup. So was Hurts. Okay? So was Hurts. Kenny Pickett. Hey, Kenny Pickett in that offense versus the Steelers. Do you know that the Steelers have scored 25 touchdown passes in the last 2 years? He's the backup. Stop it, Sills. Wait a minute. Jalen Hurts was drafted as a backup. Don't use that on me. Your boy was a backup. Do they believe in Hurts? Oh my God. Hey, Xander, this is just let me give you the Kenny Pickett spin here. I say this to you about Kenny Pickett being dealt for by the Eagles. I like the move, man. You know what they're probably saying? What could he do in this offense? The Steeler offense has been shitty. Pickens, Najee's not bad. I'm not suggesting to you that Kenny Pickett's going to turn his career around and turn into Patrick Mahomes here. But what I am going to say is, I'd like to see him get a chance here with better talent. You guys, wait a minute. Let me get this thing right. So everyone's now saying, how many people are now saying this? How many people are saying this? Well, Saquon Barkley needs a better team. Right? Well, if Saquon Barkley needs a better team to shine, doesn't Kenny Pickett? Why doesn't that apply to him? Why doesn't that apply to him? You guys have, it's so selective selection. You've been telling me, Sills, you're wrong. You're wrong on Barkley. With better talent, right, Xander? With better talent, Barkley's 1,500 yards, probably 600 yards receiving. Okay? How do you know Kenny Pickett's not a 4,500-yard passing quarterback with better talent? Let's check this out. Wow, they got him for nothing. Terms of the deal. And they got 120th pick. I think that's a 4th rounder or 3rd rounder. Is that right? Is 120 a 3rd rounder? Steelers get pick number 98. That's a 2nd rounder or 3rd rounder. 2 2025 7th round picks. Eagles get quarterback Pickett and number 120. Whew. Yeah, that 120 is like a 4th round pick, I think. But that sounds like a 3 to me. How you doing? Hey, Jalen. Don't come out throwing picks. You'll be hearing the calls for the Pitt guy. You'll have a Pitt quarterback and a Penn State running back there. This guy's keeping it local, isn't he? How about Howie, baby? Howie, I like it. Put pressure on that kid finally. See how he handles that. Couldn't handle the money last year. Fell apart last year at the end of the season. Let's see how he handles the pressure, the money, and a guy breathing down his neck. Oh, yeah. Hey, get this, though, Steve. This is probably something that's it's either going to be a good thing or a bad deal. Okay? Look at Greg. Pickett won't see the field. Yeah, Jalen wasn't supposed to either, but he did. Dude, you make it sound like Jalen Hurts was drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles with the intentions on being a franchise quarterback. That was never the intention. So you can't apply that when it comes to Kenny Pickett either. He was actually drafted by the Steelers to be the face of the franchise. Jalen was never. I got you, Greg. We're good. We're good. I'm just saying this. I mean, you guys are telling me one thing here. Sills. And how about this? Let's apply it to both. Still, Saquon needs just better. He just needs better players. Look at the people. I hear Bill talking about the cascade of shitty players he's played with. Okay. The only reason that Kenny Pickett hasn't blown completely out loud is because Mike Tomlin's there. Hey, do I think that guy's been great in Pittsburgh? No way. No way do I think he's been great in Pittsburgh. I'll tell you one thing is for sure. It shows you how valuable people like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins are. No wonder. The NFL has they have a lack of talent at that position. And that's why guys like Dak and Cousins are going to make gargantuan money. You know why? Because there's a talent shortage at that position. There's a talent shortage. So let's do this. Is Jalen's job in jeopardy? Is Jalen's job in jeopardy? And they got the guy on a rookie deal. Hey, they're paying him some decent money, though. And get this, it's guaranteed. Daryl goes, that's stupid. Really? He goes like this, that's stupid. So you think, Daryl, you go and you sign Saquon Barkley, you pay $25 million for a wide receiver. You draft a first-round wide receiver. You have a second-round tight end, and you're paying $15 million. The money you've invested in your O-line, you just gave your guard $20 million annually, and your quarterback's making $50, and he thinks that's stupid. Hey, Sills, if Huff is not an upgrade over Reddick, why make that move? At least Reddick. Hey, Ace, right. It's a lateral move. It's a lateral move. That's a great call, Stevens. You think Kellen Moore wanted Kenny Pickett? Kellen Moore liked him at the combines. Okay. Oh, man. Is Jalen Hurts' job now in jeopardy? Oh, my God. They just put guess what they did this offseason? They put pressure on the coach with Kellen Moore's hire, and they put pressure on the quarterback with the Kenny Pickett trade. One thing the Eagles aren't doing, excuse me, Aunt Betty, they're not fucking around. People's asses are on the line here. And if I was a player in that locker room, I'd be like this. I'll tell you what they do. They're making bold statements here. You could say whatever you want about the deals. You could say whatever you want. I think that owner is pissed, John. I think the owner's pissed. Because there's been some bold statements made. Pressure makes diamonds, baby. Sink or swim. Hey, I think this owner, I don't think those meetings with Howie and Nick went well. You spent money at linebacker. Whether Devin White is good, let's get out of that. They spent money, right? They spent money on Barkley. Okay, which they've never done. They make a trade for a quarterback. Have they? Well, they had to have been sold on Hurts. You don't give somebody $250 million and say, well, I'm not really sold on him still. I wouldn't think. Oh, I see. Look at Kadeem. Kenny Pickett is trash, having been on a not a very good offense. But yet Barkley, who hasn't – Barkley was on a shitty offense too. But that's a great sign, right? Okay. Pressure could be good. It's time to go. DRC. I'm not thinking this is all bad now. You know what? I got to tell you, remember what I said to you a couple weeks ago? Remember what I said? I said this to you guys. You know what, man? At the end of the day, one thing is for sure. They needed to make a statement. Hey, don't forget, Angelo Cataldi's going to join us at 3:30. I can't wait to hear his take on this Pickett move. Okay? Pickett's going to have Barkley. Oh, my God. If that guy starts the season out with 7 picks, I'll be screaming from the highest building on Broad Street. Kenny! Small hands! Small hands! Small hands! Holy cow. All you Jalen Hurts lovers, man, this has got to hurt a bit. Carson Wentz watch. No, this is Jalen Hurts watch. Woo! Pitt Panther, Penn State, baby. Pickett. He's an Ocean County kid? Get out, Dave. I didn't know he was a Jersey kid. Is he? That's great. Great talent in Jersey. Dude, very underrated high school football talent, too, in Philly. Shit, man, I think your high school football is better than your college football in the Philadelphia area. Okay? Sills, you make me hate this team. I feel like there's no hope. Hutch, don't do that. Hutch, that's not – Hutch, can I tell you something, Hutch? It's March 16th. Or excuse me, 15th. I think the Eagles are being very entertaining. Remember that liked Pickett in the draft, took him to dinner twice. Hey, didn't Howie have the binoculars out at the Pitt game? Was it Pitt, Carolina? Was it? Am I right when I say that? Didn't Howie have the binoculars out and he's watching Kenny Pickett at the Pittsburgh, North Carolina game? Right? He had those binoculars out and he was looking at his boy, Kenny Pickett. Remember that? He was at the game for North Carolina and Pitt. Right? Oh, so Howie's loved this kid. Taylor goes, Pickett was in college for 7 years. He sucks. Yeah, because he was on a horrible offense. But Saquon Barkley, he's great. What a great sign. And his numbers are pedestrian. He had 7,000 yards on a shitty team. Okay. Last 4 years, he's had 2,800 after knee injury. Oh, I can't wait to get Angelo on. Bottom of the hour. This is going to be great. Let's get McMullen for 4:30 on White and Pickett. Absolutely. If he'll willing to do it, John McMullen has been. Hey, I'll tell you something about McMullen. So I hate Xander. I hate to position it like this, but I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking of John. So I turn the show on, and he just lays into the Devin White numbers. He just lays into it. And we'll expand more at 4:30. I don't want to bury the lead if some of you didn't see the show. Don't forget Birds 365. Make sure you check it out. Him and Big Bill does a great job for us. Say, oh, man. Jalen Hurts' job is on the line. Steelers got rid of a first-round pick. Dude, man, that was fat. How many years was he in Pittsburgh? 2? Shit. They just went like this. Nah, it's all right. Hey, the Steelers went like this. Sills, what do you think of the Sweat restructuring? Fantastic. It's what he does great. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I got to take a timeout because Angelo Cataldi is going to join us. The man, the myth, the legend. I don't know where to begin. We're going to have to begin with, I was going to begin with Devin White and talk to him about some of the moves that have been made with Saquon Barkley. But I'm going to start with Kenny Pickett. Holy shit. I got it one more time. All seriousness. I got to say, man, that owner has to be one pissed off dude right now because he must have gone to Howie. I want changes. And I'm not just talking about coaching changes because the next people are going to be changed are going to be you and Nick. Do you think he had a come to Jesus conversation like that? Because this activity makes it look like that. Doesn't this guy look like he's put everyone on the hot seat? Hey, does this mean Howie's in trouble? Well, relative. Have you ever seen Howie Roseman break the bank at linebacker, running back, and make all the moves, and then make a play for a former first-round quarterback to back up a guy who didn't have the best year last year? Is that a smart move? Bringing in a former first-round pick who plays right down the pike, is from New Jersey, who's going to have fans at Lincoln Financial screaming for him to get into a game once Hurts throws 2 picks. You think that's the right move? Dude, I got to tell you, man, somebody's pissed off in the Eagles. I got to take a time out here and hit the like button. I'm going to expand on that more. Is this the right move for Jalen Hurts, bringing Kenny Pickett in? We'll hit on that, hit the like button. Angelo Cataldi will be with us at 3:30 Eastern. Philly Godfather at 5:30. John McMullen at 4:30 to get his take and his spins on all this. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News?
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
This is what the Bucs are saying today. Buccaneers conduct one of the biggest and greatest free agent hauls ever. Now that they got rid of Devin White. Oh, my God. They say they got better. One of the great, I just got the bulletin. They send this to the alumni guys. Okay? One of the greatest free agent hauls ever. Hey, Gabe goes, the Bucs are sorry. Really? They kicked the shit out of you in the playoffs. Holy, look at that. Look at that. Bucs conduct one of the greatest free agent hauls ever. And they signed a linebacker. Holy shit. This is really awesome. Thank you, God. Lord, I didn't know what things were going to look like, in the off season here. This has been spectacular. Timothy goes like this. Sills, what's your take on Pickett? Well, Timothy, let me ask you a question first. What's your take on Barkley coming to the Eagles after being on a bad team? What's your take on Barkley? He needed to be on a better team with better talent, right? Timothy, right? He needs to be on a team with better talent. Right? Well, why doesn't that work with him? Oh, I see. It's different positions. So a quarterback going from one organization that has not done well, changed their offensive coordinator. Hey, by the way, did they not change their coordinator midstream? Hey, there was a time in that 1-7 stretch, you could have benched Hurts if you had someone behind him that was worth the shit. You could have benched him. He wasn't playing well. This guy had 18 turnovers. You could have sat his ass. Pickett is terrible. Okay. Well, then why'd they make the move? A former first-round pick. Do you actually think? Hey, so you're saying that Kenny Pickett won't play better with better talent around him? Is that what you're saying? Huh. So that means you also think that Barkley won't play better with better talent around him. Is that so? Steelers now a bad team? No, they're not a great. No, they're a great coach team. They went to the playoffs with Zach Rudolph. Oh yeah, with Zach Rudolph. What's his name? Mason Rudolph. Fields. What? So I guess if Fields goes to a place that knows how to handle quarterbacks, hey, it wouldn't shock me. Now that they made this move for Kenny Pickett, okay, it wouldn't shock me if they had called Chicago, okay, and maybe made a play for Justin Fields. This looks like it. Maybe if Rudolph didn't come in and throw 300 yards per game. Maybe. Pickett can sling it around. My thing is, are they moving in a different way with the quarterback position? Mike, did Kellen Moore and Howie want this move? You mean to tell me you think this is in the best interest of a quarterback who's coming off a down year, is to make a move for a first-round quarterback? Really? So you would think then that, hey, wait a minute. How many people think that Trevor Lawrence – here, let's do this. So, Xander, your boy Mac Brown, right? He's now down in Jacksonville. You think there's any pressure on Trevor Lawrence? You think Doug Peterson put pressure on him? Not just a first rounder, a hometown kid, lifelong Eagle fan. Pressure's on, baby. So do you think that Doug brought in Mac Jones just to bring in Mac Jones? Okay. So do you think do you believe that the Eagles brought in Kenny Pickett to put What level of pressure? What level of pressure do you think this is? Making a move for Kenny Pickett. Was Pickett a first-round talent, or was he just taken in the first round? Because the Steelers were desperate. I think the Steelers were desperate. Well, I think the signing of Devin White's desperate, but hey, who's keeping score here? Low level, 0. That sounds about right. A guy who went 1-7 down the stretch, second in the league in turnovers, had problems with the offense in blitz and reading defenses a year ago. You think there's no pressure on him. And he makes $50 million. And he's got AJ and Devontae. And now Barkley and Goddard. And you just paid a guard $20 million. And there's no pressure on him. Oh. I think the Eagles believe in. Watch this. You got to watch my face when I say this, Barb. You got to watch my face. I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles have faith in Hurts. I think they really think a lot of him. I think they trust him. Do I believe that the Eagles have? I'm going to try to do this one more time here. Is Fangio involved in a defense of picks? I doubt it. Hang on for a second. I'm getting a lie detector test here. Sills, what's the deal with you today? I said with this talent, Hurts is screwed. If he doesn't shine, you denied that. Minutes later, Pickett happens, and you're all over it. Jesus. Wait, no. I'm not sure what you're going there. I'm asking you what the Eagles did, not what my take is. What? I don't know what you're asking me. What's the deal with me today? What's the deal with the Eagles? Sure looks like desperation. All these moves and all these signings look like desperation on somebody who got hollered at when they came home too late because they were drinking. That's what this looks like. I'll tell you one thing about that Josh Sweat and the timeout, what I thought of. Does it make it easier for them to trade him now that he signed that restructuring deal? Does it make it more of an incentive for a team to come in now that he's only going to make $13 million or has a chance to make $13 million? It's kind of below market value. You know, if he waited a year, it could have been maybe $18 million, somewhere in there. Does it make it more enticing for a team to come in and maybe make a trade for him? And is that what they're still telling him? Because just because he's restructured, that doesn't mean he's staying home. There's a possibility the Eagles could trade that now, after restructuring that deal, because a team could come in and go like this. Hey, that's really better for us now. And we'll give you a 3 for him. You know what I mean? Okay? Woo! Pressure's on your boy. Hometown cooking, too. All them Jersey guys. Instead of them Houston guys, are going to be rolling down from Jersey. Hey, what's up with my boy? How come you're not playing my boy? Put small hands in. What's going on here? This guy's got 7 picks. Holy shit. Wait till that thing turns. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Why would you light that and put kerosene on that? Because they want to. Hey, Pickett Mafia. Pickett Mafia. Pickett Mafia's coming. Yes, sir. This ain't Marcus Mariota, dog. This is Pickett Mafia. Put my boy in. Ocean City rules. Oh, my God. Sills admitted the Eagles got everyone's attention. We agree on that for sure, dude. Absolutely, man. Hey, the Eagles are one of the top 5 teams that's must-see television in 2024. This is must-see. I can't wait to see this shit, man. Yeah? Okay? And you got all them guys up in Jersey. See, you know what you guys give me a chance to do? You guys give me a chance to go back to my stupid way I used to talk when it comes to, like, you know, because you have an East Coast slang. I've kind of gotten away from that, having gone to the redneck South and to the elitist West. Turns you into an aristocrat when you go to California, you know. But when you're raised where I was from, hey, where are we going with this? You're putting pressure on my boy who just had 15 picks and 18 turnovers. What's going on here? What are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going here? Put my boy in. Forget about it. I'm going to throw your guy Hurts to the curb. Yeah. I'll tell you, man, like I said, Howie Roseman, man, he must have been on that yacht. He must have been hot as hell on that yacht. You know, when him and Xander were looking for that 65-footer, they must have been sitting there chopping it up going, I'm pretty pissed off, Xander. Xander's like, how could you be pissed off in a yacht? I'm going to buy myself one of these. Yeah, right? How you doing? Yes, sir, boy. Chris Sims take? Look at Markle get mad at me because your team made a move for a first-round quarterback, brings a hometown kid in who comes off a struggling season, and you think that's a nothing burger. And you go, he sucks because he was in Pittsburgh, not with a lot of offensive talent, and they changed their coordinator out too. They had made the decision. Hey, I'm not telling you Pickett's great. So you made a move for a shitty quarterback that you don't like? Is that what you did? Well, then that's on Howie for making a shitty move. Which is it? He's the guru of gurus. You can't have it both ways. If it's a shitty move, it's a shitty move. Why don't you say it? You can't, because you won't, because that contradicts yourself. See what we're doing here? You probably don't, because you're not smart enough. Some of you. Eagles always do this. McNabb, Vic, Wentz. Hey, it's history repeating itself for sure. Why would you light a fire like that and throw gasoline on a bad scenario? Why would you do that? Dude, I would have drafted a guy in the draft, 4th round, 5th round. No one would have said the better. Wouldn't have been, you would have went, okay, you know, you never know when you land on Tyler Huntley or something like that. Dude, they would never have brought Tyler Huntley in. Tyler Huntley might have beat him out. He might have beat him out. He's good. Tyler Huntley's not coming to Philly to be a backup. That guy's a starter somewhere. Dude, if Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott can make $50 to $60 million, that guy's going to get paid. Okay? Angelo Cataldi's going to join us. Let me get the Bible in preparation for the man, the myth, the legend. Dan Sileo was making sense so much since yesterday. I knew it would be the same bullshit. What bullshit today, Matt, didn't you like? That Devin White was a great sign when the Bucs moved on from him and nobody on the planet thinks he was a good sign but you? Or that the Eagles make a trade with the Steelers for a first-round quarterback that Howie went and recruited personally. Don't you remember him in the box at the Carolina Pitt game? He personally went and scouted him. And now they're bringing him in with a quarterback who had an off year. And you think that's what? Bullshit? Or is that not what's happening? Yeah. Why would you throw gasoline on an already burning fire? Howie does Howie trust Jalen? Does he? Gardner Minshew wasn't a first-round pick. Draft choices were exchanged. Not so. Get this. Some not so. Here, you want to hear something? The Bears aren't going to get what the Steelers got for Justin Fields. And if I'm not mistaken, he was drafted higher. They're not going to get that. And now Pickett gets to come to a situation. What do you think, he's going to be friendly to Jalen? Hey, buddy, what's up? Hey, or does he want the job? When he sees all that talent. So, let me get this right. So think about this one, Xander. Everyone. So when you live in an apartment and you don't really have a lot of things in your apartment, then you move to a 7-bedroom home with everything in it. You think your life changes, and do you think your thought process changes on what could be for your life? Does your life change? This is going to be so explain this one to me. I'm going to bring Angelo on here in a second. So let's say this. Whether you think I was going to start with Barkley, but whether you think Kenny Pickett sucks or not, the Eagles make a move with an already inferno going on with a quarterback coming off a bad year. You got a guy in Jersey who is a hometown Jersey kid, and you know the boys up there are going to be going Pickett Mafia. Hey, put my boy in. And Lincoln Financial, if that thing gets out to us, hey, he sucks, Hills. Well, wait, Barkley didn't have a lot of talent. This guy didn't have a ton of talent in Pittsburgh. They changed the coordinator out. Matt Canada got moved out of there. So, but Mason Rudolph was better. Okay. Why did they put fuel on the fire? I went and looked in the Bible and I said this. I go, there's got to be a page in here like 174. Only by the writing. So I'm reading it and I go, I'm not a very good reader. I went to the University of Miami. I'm going to get the man who translated this now to voice. He's Angelo Cataldi.
Yes, the audio book is out. It came out a couple of days ago. If you don't read, and I think maybe a few of the people that listen to my show didn't read, most of yours read, I'm pretty sure, Dan, but you can order it now on Amazon and all the other places where you get audio books. And wow, Dan, my God. Dan, can I start with something that might, I don't know, shock you? Howie Roseman is a good GM, especially if you're a talk show host, because he does a lot. His team may have quit this year, but Howie didn't quit. My God, he's got 3 moves a day. It's amazing. I give him a lot of credit for that. He's trying hard.
Do you think, though, that there was more of a come-to-Jesus conversation with the owner and the GM where they went like this, Angelo? They're spending money at running back. They're spending money on a linebacker. Whatever you think of the moves first, they're moving every single day.
Yeah.
Okay, on doing so. Is this desperation? Or is this just Howie being Howie?
It's Howie being Howie on steroids. All right. It's like Howie has always done a lot. Howie wins lots of off seasons. He only won 1 actual season, but he won a lot of off seasons. He's really good at that. And I know you, a week ago, you were heckling him and calling him the accountant. Well, you know what? He's juggling a lot of numbers to keep under that cap. I don't know how he's doing that. I don't need to know. All right. But my God, the moves he's made, I don't think the Eagles are going to win that many games.
I don't either.
I'll go up to maybe 5.5 or 6 now. But I still don't. I think it's too much with no coach. I don't. You made all these changes, but not the coach who choked out the season. But again, I just need a moment to marvel at all the things he does around free agency. It is remarkable. There are so many moves. I don't even think I can remember them all anymore. There were a lot of moves.
Well, there was one that was just made a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
You just mentioned it with a coach on a hot seat, a quarterback coming off not so great a year, and you got Kenny Pickett, who 2 years ago was a first rounder. And if you remember, you were still on the air, Angelo. He personally went and recruited him and scouted him for the North Carolina Pitt game. You know, he was sitting up there with the binoculars. You know, he had to get on TV and look like the superstar GM. He was doing the whole thing. I mean, is this a smart move in your opinion?
Well, this broke so late, and I am retired. What'd they give up for Kenny Pickett?
Xander, can you put that up there for Angelo so that we can
get? What they have to give up to get Pickett?
They got a draft pick too back in exchange. So here, Angelo, here's what they ended up getting here. The Steelers get pick number 98 and two 2025 seventh rounders. The Eagles get quarterback Kenny Pickett and the Steelers' 120th pick. It's the similar value of what the Washington Commanders did with Sam Howell when they sent him to Seattle.
A 3 and 2 7s for 4. And Pickett. Good move, Howie. Howie, good. Now, first of all, I'll say this. Kenny Pickett has tiny hands, not like me. He's got
But because Italians have big hands, you know what they say about guys with small hands?
Yeah.
Everything looks big in them. You know, want to keep that there.
But you know what? Look, as a backup quarterback, sure. Why not? If you're getting to the backup, this is a problem with a lot of the moves. All right, let me tell you why there's problems with some of these moves. A lot of these moves are name players that get you excited until you try to put them into the format of how good they're going to make the team. I'll start with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's a big talent. Nobody's arguing that. But the thing he would contribute to the Eagles the most is he's a really good blocker and will pick up the blitz. They didn't need a good runner. DeAndre Swift was terrific this past year. He got over 1,000 yards, and they forgot about him half the games. So Barkley will help them to pick up the blitz. That is a lot for $40 million for a blitz picker up. I don't think you got that much better at the position except in that one role. Did you get? I guess you're a better pass receiver too, but he gets hurt a ton, so you can't compute that. It's not a huge improvement on the team. It just helps you pick up the blitz, which I don't know. I mean, maybe you could have had a coach who figured that out himself. Didn't need to bring a guy in to do that. So I don't know how much that helped. The edge rusher, that's good, but I know they're bringing Sweat back. That broke today, too. They redid his deal. But where does Reddick fit in?
He doesn't.
He's out. So they're going to get rid of Reddick?
No,
Reddick
here's
is better than any of the guys they brought in.
Here's what they did, Angelo. The Bryce Huff move is a lateral move because in New York, he only was on the field 46% of the time because he can't play the run.
Yeah.
Reddick is also in that category. So you can't have two edge rushers that can't play the run and can't cover. And so they really didn't add. They just moved money because they're going to move Reddick out the building. That's not an improvement on your defense with that Huff move.
That's the thing. See, there's a lot of influx. There's people coming in. But then you go, well, where do they help? All right, Gardner Johnson will help in the safety. He's better than what they had last year. But is he great? No, he's good. He's good. That'll help a little. If you have a coach now, Vic Fangio, who knows how to design a defense that can stop the pass. But they were 31st against the pass last year. Their two cornerbacks, who as far as I know are still there, Slay and Bradbury. When quarterbacks threw at the guys they were covering there, 60% of the passes were complete. And in all 17 regular season games, passers passed against the Eagles defense for a rating of 115, which is spectacular. And they made every quarterback look good. Are they going to be able to do a lot better there? Because they're not going anywhere without that. And I don't know. They got another linebacker. They got an edge rusher, and they got Johnson. So they got something there. But it doesn't Xavier McKinney to me would have been a much better acquisition.
They got outbid.
Use that Barkley money for that first. See, to me, Howie likes to hear people say how many great moves he made. And Pickett's another name decision, right? But are they going to be better? If Pickett gets in the game? That means Hurts is out. That means they're screwed anyway, because Pickett ain't winning no championships. So what? Dan, 5.5 wins now. 5 wins in the tie. That's all I got. They're still going to have a bad team.
I'm completely with you, and I'm gonna.
If they lose Reddick, no. If they lose Reddick, their defense is maybe marginally better than a year ago. Maybe not, because Cox isn't in the middle now either. I'm not sure they're very much better defensively, and offensively. I don't have Kelsey anymore. Good luck.
How about this, Angelo? Yeah. This is what I said about the Devin White and everyone. I talked to Bruce Arians last night. Loved the guy. And here's why they moved on from Devin. And think about what his contemporary is. Patrick Queen moves out of Baltimore, signs a 3-year contract extension in Pittsburgh at $18 million a year. This guy's on a 1-year prove-it deal. And 4 of the 5 years, he's not played well against the run. He's been one of the worst. You know who had higher ratings than him last year? Zach Cunningham had higher ratings than him against the run in the past. And here's what quarterbacks have been completing: 108 quarterback rating against him in pass coverage.
Yeah.
Where in the world do you know Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham had higher grades than him? Wow. And you paid $7.5 million for a guy because he was the 5th pick in the draft. And 4 of the 5 years, Angelo, the Bucs said enough. We moved on.
Yeah. I got to say that it seems to me that these coaches are going to have to come up with some really major moves to get the team back from where they were, the previous year. It seems to be, Dad, that it's exciting. I still react the way a talk show host does. I go, oh my God, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. The fans will get all excited. People will buy tickets. They'll get more jerseys. And then they'll get out there and they'll go, they still stink. They lost, 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7, if you include the play. They were all at the end of the year. Are they going to be really good now? No, they're not. It's like putting tinsel on the Christmas tree. It's shiny and nice, but it doesn't make it better. I don't think they're much better. And I hate to say that because I'm excited. I keep getting these alerts on my phone. I just figured out how to use those. And I go, wow, this is really a lot easier than what I used to do.
That's really wild. I love that. Angelo, here's my question with Barkley, though. Okay. Yeah. So you paid this guy $13 million now. All right. Does that mean now that AJ gets less touches, or is it Devontae, or is it Goddard, or is it – how are you going to distribute it when your offense the last 3 years, well, outside of Shane Steichen, hasn't been a real distributing offense? Yeah. Are they going to give him to validate the money? Like you said, I would have wanted that $13 million. At least it could have went towards Xavier McKinney, $17 million. That makes more sense on getting your team better and your better balance. Who's suffering here? How are you using him? Are you gonna go back, Angelo? Are you gonna go back to running 20 carries a game?
All right, maybe I can figure out how to get some touches for all these guys. Quez Watkins is getting 0 targets. He's done. All right.
Yeah.
Macias, that other guy,
the kid from Atlanta.
He's out. He's done. We got rid of Stahl, right? He went to the Giants.
Yeah, he's the Giant now.
Stinks, all right.
As Kiki Barber would say, you're dead to me.
Right. All those guys. All right. So now we got Devontae Smith. Yeah, he's getting plenty. AJ Brown, he's getting the most. All right. I don't care. He's the best player. Give him the friggin' ball. All right. I got to give some to my tight end. All right. So he's getting some. And then Devontae Parker, I guess he's going to be the third receiver, right?
Yep.
He'll get a few. And then I'll use, I guess, Barkley is the closest thing they're going to have to an every down back that they haven't had in years, right? But he'll go down. He'll get hurt. He always does. And then what? And then you're back to Kenny Gainwell, and I don't know if
Boston Scott
coming back.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it doesn't make them. They lost the best leader they had on offense, Jason Kelce, an irreplaceable part. And say what you want. I've been a big critic of Fletcher Cox, but he had a good final season. Yep. Everybody will acknowledge that. And now you got the young guys without the veteran in the middle that way. They're a 5 or 6 win team. That's all they are, Dan. All of this fancy maneuvering and all this money spent. And by the way, inside sources tell me that all this money that the Eagles just spent, Jeff Lurie spent more on his new yacht.
He spent more on the 65-footer than he did on a safety.
Yeah, the yacht's really nice. I heard the yacht's amazing. It's even more impressive than Saquon Barkley.
It's got an entertainment section, too, so he can sit and watch his team go up in flames next year with 7 wins, sitting there throwing shit at the screen. I love it. Is there more pressure, in your opinion, now on Jalen Hurts this year with the addition of Barkley?
That's a really good yes, because they did move some chips into the middle and went, all right, listen, we're going to spend even more money here but if he doesn't come up big, if he plays next season the way he played the end of this season, there are going to be lots of questions. But don't mistake Kenny Pickett as any sort of a threat, because he's not, all right? Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick, and people thought he could be something. He did not prove that in Pittsburgh. He's not a bad backup. I mean, that's not a bad move, especially they didn't give much up when you look at what they got. But if Hurts doesn't do it this season, and if he has this 5 or 6 win season that I'm predicting, there's going to be a lot of clamor that he's not the guy.
You know what?
I still think he is. I love him, but
I know you do.
I really do.
But do you think, like you said, and I happen to agree, look, Pickett's got a lot to prove. He surely does. He didn't do shit when he was in Pittsburgh. However, is it more of a message that they're sending to the offense that, hey, we're bringing in a former first-round pick, a local kid. He's from New Jersey. A guy who went to Pittsburgh. I mean, again, I'm not saying that he's going to melt like Wentz, but isn't that kind of, if I'm a player and you make a trade for a guy to back me up, and I didn't have a good year the year before, human nature is going to be this, Angelo.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really fear him, but why would the front office do that?
Well, you're right that it ramps up the pressure on the quarterback. And I'll tell you who it ramps up the pressure even more on. The coach. They just spent all this money. Howie right now is sitting in the office and he's going, once again, I got you some players. I got you some help. I plugged some holes. Now don't go out and blow that in the next season the way you did this one. This is a kind of coaching situation where he might get, if they lose the 3 of the first 4, he might get fired, right? And it's Sirianni. The problem is, it just makes no sense to make all these changes and not change the head coach, right? What are you saying here? You're not saying Swift was bad, so you had to get Barkley. You got Barkley because you needed somebody to block on the blitz. He's going to do a lot more blocking than even he realizes. Believe me that. And all these other guys that they got, if you're bringing in Huff, but you're losing Reddick, are you ahead of the game?
No. It's a lateral move.
Right? So there's a lot of tinsel there, and you got a better safety. But you're the one that let him go.
Are they admitting they made a mistake with that by bringing him back?
And Johnson, he left on bad terms. So I guess both sides had to eat a little
Yeah.
They both had to go, well, I don't have a better offer. And the Eagles were going, well, we can't find anybody better to play that position, so we're bringing you back. But he's not great. We saw him get eaten alive. Where's the where's the guy? Like when they brought
the game changer.
When Slay was in his prime, he came here. You knew you had a shutdown corner for a couple of years. He's not that anymore. And Bradbury's going to play again. Did anyone watch Bradbury at the end of the year?
Both corners had 3 picks last year combined, making $25 million.
No, you can't do that. You can't. Dan, it's fun. It's exciting. And it equals maybe half a victory. Maybe they can eke out a tie in one of those 17 games and have 5 wins and a tie. I'm not going any higher.
Couple last questions for you. Now, anytime you have a lot of moves like this, coordinators are now changed out. You're probably going to have as many as 6 new faces on the defensive side of the ball of the 11. You're probably going to have a philosophy change a little bit in the way you're going to approach the game.
Yeah.
Is it too much change to have any kind of cohesiveness, especially when the organization, Angelo, doesn't take OTA serious? They don't take the exhibition season serious. How are you going to go and be prepared in September when you don't, as Javon Hargrave says, you don't work hard enough at it, and you're just going to plug these guys in, plug and play?
Yeah, Dan, this is why I come on your show. I love that's the best question. Are you going to maintain this wimpy philosophy of not using the preseason games to get your team ready to play the way you have the last couple of years, all the time that Sirianni's been here? Or are you going to get these guys on the field, take the risk that somebody might get hurt, and get them playing cohesively before the first actual game? That's the real question. And what's fascinating about that question is you'll know if they're doing the same thing. Sirianni comes, no, we don't need to play we're doing joint practices, and that's just as good, which it is not.
It's not. It's not quality reps.
No, it's not as good. It's just being afraid of getting injured. If they get the team ready, you'll know they really did change the philosophy. And if they don't, again, that's not coming from Sirianni anyway. It's coming from up top.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to see it, because you're right. They need to play together, and they need to play together in game conditions, and they need to not be on the field for the first time when the games count to figure out whether or not they can work together. You got to do it. They've got to start changing those philosophies. If they do that, they might win 6 games this year. Wow.
Angelo, Keith Byers was on yesterday, and he said that they weren't playing championship football after Thanksgiving.
No.
He said after Thanksgiving, you just saw them not play championship football. And he said for that team to be successful, they got to spread it around. They've got to do the things, and people have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Not somebody wanting the ball more, this guy wanting the ball more. He thought they didn't play football, and he said that comes from the coach.
Yeah.
That's a coaching decision right there. And that's the head coach not doing it and making sure they're playing championship football. Since Thanksgiving, he thought they quit.
Oh, they certainly were awful. And the fact of the matter is they were awful with the best leader on any team I've ever seen right there on the field with him, and Jason Kelce, and he's not there now. So who's going to fill that leadership void on offense? Lane Johnson's not that type. He's a great player, but he's not a leader type. I guess this is where Hurts really has to step up.
Would you ask him to come back, Angelo, Jason Kelce?
No, I would not ask him to come back. He sacrificed so much to play as long as he did. But I think you might have said to me, if they're midway through the season and they're doing okay, that was your thing.
Yeah,
right?
week 8.
He's very vulnerable to playing the last 7 or 8 games and then being ready if they're in the playoff position. He loves the game so much, and he wouldn't have to take that big a toll on his body. He might do that. I don't know. Personally, he had an amazing career. He ended it as well as anybody could end it. I hope he finds another job he loves, and that's what he does.
Finally here, Angelo, Jason Cole, I'm sure you know who he is, NFL Hall of Fame voter, works for Yahoo. He brought this up about Kelce. He thought the reason, and so did Howard Balzer, believe it or not, both those guys brought it up. They said, when you lose a guy like Kelce, the Eagles last year lost a little bit of their identity when it came to being a power running team at the end of the season last year because they just didn't look physical and it looked more finesse. Now that you lose a guy who's a dominant physical football player in Kelce, the move for Barkley is to try to maintain, to get back to being that grounded out kind of team, a physical looking team. So it's kind of like you're replacing Barkley, you're hoping, with Jason Kelce to still kind of keep that identity. Do you see that tie-in? Do you buy that?
I see that you'd be more power running, and I saw that Kelce came out and said he was upset when he heard that they got Barkley because he would have loved to block for Barkley, right? That kind of ties in with what you were saying before. And previous time I was with you, where you went, one of the reasons Kelce called it quits is he doesn't think the team's that good anymore.
He doesn't
why
think they're
sacrifice for that? Well, him saying that, I wish I was there to block for Barkley. He's saying, wow, I didn't know they'd be this good. They got Barkley, and he's still fighting it. Let me tell you, as somebody who retired a year ago, after you retire, your brain doesn't retire that fast. It's still thinking the way it did before. And he's going, maybe I had one more year in me. Maybe
No. Angelo, you're still needed.
Oh, no, I know he is.
Needed in that town.
Here's Howie getting the money for Kelce. Come on, Howie, he must be 20 million over the cap by now, the way he's doing this. But it's fun. I love it. This is why football is the best. It's year round. It never stops.
They got an absolute lockdown when it comes to the NFL calendar. I'm going to leave you with this here. If I always grew up, I wanted to be like Randy White, or I wanted to be like Mean Joe Green. I wanted to be those guys. And I've been saying this to everyone. Angelo, if I could be anybody in today's league, I want to be Kirk Cousins. I'm going to tell you why. He's made $412 million. Brady made $375 million in his career. This guy's made $412. I mean, look, he's that just shows you that there's like a talent issue in the league when you're paying people like Dak Prescott $60 million and Kirk Cousins $46 million. I mean, it's unbelievable. I've been shocked with some of the money that's been thrown around.
Right. Well, I got to say this. When it comes to guys that did little and got paid a lot, the number that always jumps out at me is Kevin. We may have lost. Okay, I got you there. Kevin Cobb, I believe in his awful NFL career, made over $100 million, which is just amazing because he's probably now looking at the same yacht place where Lurie went. The guy's got all this money. Kirk Cousins, he hasn't sniffed the championship, and he's got all that money. It is crazy. It's really nuts. But Dan, if you can get it, get it.
Amen. Amen. And speaking of that, if you can get it on Amazon. And now, in case you missed the golden tones of Angelo in the morning, he also has the book now on audio. Where can they get that, Angelo?
Yeah, Amazon is probably the fastest place. I know audible.com has them too, but
the blog too.
I always avoided audiobooks because I thought they were a competitor to radio. My wife loves them, and she oversaw some of the recording of it. So it came out pretty good. Didn't come out bad.
How about the blog?
Oh, yeah. AngeloCataldi.com. Every week I add some dumb comments on what I saw over the past week. So still get them free like you did on the radio. Just go to the website. Dan, I love talking to you, my man. Anytime you need me, I'm right here.
What's that?
You're the man.
Thank you, my friend.
You're the man.
Thank you, Angelo Cataldi. Damn. Woo, man, the Eagles are good. Okay. Do you think anyone in this chat can read why you're promoting a book in this chat? Dave, try to stay with us here. Okay? Try to stay with us. And look at LJ. Angelo's thirsty for book sales. The guy made $3 million for 20 years. I don't think he's starving for anything, dude. Oh, unlike the ticket prices that the Eagles posted, you see that? Average tickets have gone up $400 in 2 years per ticket. Hey, someone's got to pay for AJ. Someone's got to pay for Jalen Hurts. You think it's the Yachtsman? Hey, Xander, there's the new one. You think the Yachtsman? Now, you see, the guy in the back of the boat is called a coxsman. Row, row, row. So he's not a coxsman because the coxsman is the guy in the back of the boat that goes, row, row, row. Okay? So he's more of like the yachtsman. Okay? Yeah, he's the yachtsman. And the yachtsman, man, hey. Hey, Barb. Come on now. You know what a coxsman is. He's the guy in the back of the boat. I'm very sure you know what a shuttlecock is, too. That's the little birdie that you have when you play badminton. Let's not go in the gutter here, Barb. Come on now. Not everything has to be down there in the garbage can, or it has to be there in the gutter, Barb. Okay? Barb's like, Hills, I sure do. Very cool. Hey, we're going to talk to John McMullen at 4:30. I can't wait to get John's take. Kenny Pickett, baby. Hey, Pickett season. Pickett season starting. Yes, sir, baby. Let's go, Kenny Pickett. Let's go, Kenny. Let's go, Kenny. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Nick reminds us, Bradbury gets cut June 1. Isaiah Rodgers starts at cornerback. Pretty big cap hit. Pretty big cap hit if that goes down like that, Nick. I appreciate it. Nick reminds me, too. We read all super chats. We apologize. Do me a favor. Anytime during interviews, don't send them. Wait till after, okay? Please don't send them because I'm not going to interrupt an interview with somebody to read a super chat. I'll do that after. So save them till after, and we'll promise you we'll get to them all, okay? I promise you, okay? So, hey, man. Woo! How about the Eagles flip-flopping and changing the way they do? You gotta love it, man. Look at how they flip-flop. Coaches, players, lateral moves. You think there's too many new faces on the football team? He thinks you're going to win 5.5 football games, Angelo Cataldi. 5.5 games. See, I'm being more realistic. I think you're winning 7. So you would consider me an optimist. See that? Even Big Bill would have to agree. He'd have to. I'm an optimist. I think you're going to win 7. 7. Okay? Okay? Sills was happy when Hurts lost the Super Bowl. DRC, how dumb can you be? How does that help my show? You think because if I have a take you don't like, that helps my show? The Eagles losing doesn't help my show. I don't give a shit about the Eagles. When it comes to whether I like this guy or like that guy, I could care less. I told you this before, and you have to understand this. I love the fan base. The team is a vehicle to what makes my show work. And if I have a 4-win football team like the Arizona Cardinals, how's that helping me? You're not using common sense here. How's that help? Oh, Hurts. Dude, Hurts winning helps because you know what it does? It dilutes my take. I don't win when I'm right about Nakobe Dean. I win when I'm wrong about Jalen Hurts. One day you guys will figure that out and you'll understand why I've been in business for 35 years. Until then, you'll never get it. It's not about being right. It's about being wrong. Holy cow. I had to give you an education on sports talk? You see, the youngins, like Big build. They want to be right. They don't want to make any kind of statements. You know why? Just for views and clicks. No. I make a statement so that if it comes back I'm wrong, good for me. They priced me out, Sills. I'm never going to be able to see the Eagles play. Oh, yeah, wait. Let me read that for you, too. Yeah, because, the Eagles love their fans. I tell you to the tune of what? Let me get this number. This baby. I posted this over at Dan Sileo show. This is wonderful. You guys that keep rooting for all these big money deals, unfortunately, you're paying for them. Here you go. Raising ticket prices on the fans for the huge salaries. 2022, 10 home games, 9 regular season, 1 preseason, 8 away games, 2 away preseason, $10,294. This was just 2022. 23, 10 home games, 8 regular season, $11,400. This coming year, 2024, and you get 1 game taken away because it's in Brazil. 9 games, $12,305 for your tickets. So, the mathematician that I'm not, $10,294 for 12 and 1 less game. Holy cow. Season tickets in the last 2 years have raised over $2,200 per ticket, or $2,200 for a ticket package, which means around $400 for lower seats. $400 increase. Ooh. Got to pay Hurts. Got to pay AJ. They ain't paying for it. Uses. It's Saquon Barkley. So every time you see a big money free agent deal, know your ticket prices are raising. I don't care, Sills, I'm an Eagle fan, and I believe that. Because to me, too, I'm this way, too. Hey, team's winning. That's the price of winning. That's why I think the best seat in the house is at your house. I do. I think the best seat is in your house. I smell a new flat screen rather than tickets. Okay? Hey. What does LJ say? Now, do every team in the league tickets have to go up in every market? I don't know that, but I know, hey, LJ, always know this. With the cap going up, those tickets are going up. They're going to be right in line with one another. The owners are not. What do you think the owner's going to do? Keep the tickets at the same price for the 2022 cap? When the cap goes up and they got to spend more money? Okay? I mean, they're going to rate. Hey, when the cap goes up, your ticket prices go up. Don't you understood that, right? You understood that. That when the cap goes up, your ticket prices go up. You didn't understand that. Oh, I'm sorry to had to have broken that to you. Hey, that's right, man. Bidenomics. Bidenomics right there, baby. Hey, I can't even get a loaf of bread now, man. $400 more for a loaf of bread? Absolutely. Man. Okay. Love it. How you doing? Let's say this to you. One thing is good. Okay? Let's not exaggerate what? Bidenomics. It's cheaper to get NFL Sunday ticket. Don't forget John McMullen, bottom of the hour. TV's better. Dude, I hate going to football games. You do want to hear a stat though that Pepsi told me years ago. 97% of the NFL fans have never been to an actual NFL game. Think about that. NFL doesn't make their money by fans showing up to the ballparks anymore. That's an added. They use that to really pay on the cap and the players. The money that the owners keep is the TV money and the merchandising money. That's where they make the majority of their money. Okay? They make their money. And by the way, worldwide inflation is also the Eagles' fault now. I didn't know that inflation went up 18% like the cap does. Your season tickets your ticket prices go up 18%. That's worldwide. That's some inflation rate. I thought the inflation rate was 2.6. Your tickets go up 18%. Ooh. Ow. 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 Yes, sir. Right on, man. Ooh, Kenny Pickett. That's my new hero. That's my new hero, Kenny Pickett. Small hands Pickett. Okay? Small hands Pickett. Push Hurts finally. See if he can handle it. For a quarterback who's not really great. I mean, why do you make that move and throw gasoline on a situation that doesn't need it right now when your coach is already on the hot seat? So wait a minute. You don't think the fans, if Hurts throws 2 picks in that game against the Browns, say it's the Browns. God forbid if it's the Browns. Do they play Atlanta next year? Do they? I hope you open with Atlanta. Do you guys play Atlanta? Okay. Lincoln goes, is this guy delusional or what? You're the one made the deal for Kenny Pickett, a first-round pick. Brought him into a guy who struggled last year mightily. Mightily. The head coach sucks. He's on the hot seat. And if Hurts throws 2 bricks versus the Browns in the opener, woo! Kenny Pickett season. Yeah, Kenny Pickett season. Jalen Hurts loves competition. He's never had it. What competition did Jalen Hurts have? They took the job away from Wentz and sent him shopping. And remember something. Your boy was never hired and drafted to be the starter here. Don't be delusional. Like many of you are. Oh, we drafted him because he's the franchise. No, you didn't. He was a seatbelt for Wentz. And you had to use the seatbelt. They got a new seatbelt. Kenny Pickett. He's the new seatbelt. I love your thinking, though. I love your thinking. Hey, Barkley's going to be better with better talent. But not Pickett. Right? He sucks. But he won't go from sucking to being pretty good. And Barkley will go from being pretty good to really good. It doesn't work for Pickett, though, right? It doesn't work for him, right? Why? Yale goes, what happened to him in Pittsburgh? I don't know. I'll let you know, Yale, when I talk to Matt Canada. Oh, yeah, that's right. He was fired. He's not the OC anymore. I forgot. Well, he struggled. So did Hurts. You could have benched Hurts last year. He was terrible in that 1-7 stretch. He was god-awful in the Buck game. You could have sat his ass in that Buck game. Shit, you could have sat Jalen Hurts in that Giant game. There were numerous games you could have pulled him. But because Marcus Mariota stunk, and I'm not telling you again anyway, I'm not blowing up Kenny Pickett into being Terry Bradshaw. That's not what we're doing here. Okay? I'm not saying that. But surely the guy would get better with, hey, how about this? If you ask Kenny Pickett to throw the ball 20 times and he handed the ball to Barkley and threw intermediate passes to Devontae and to Goddard and AJ, you're telling me he won't be better? They didn't have that talent in Pittsburgh. Here's my hope. Hurts throws 2 bricks. This guy comes in and throws for 200 yards. And then this shit is on. And it won't be Jalen fired. It'd be Nick right away. Oh, he's the first guy out. You bring a guy in from New Jersey Mafia. This guy's going to be hanging out at the Bada Bing, right? Kenny Soprano's coming in. Kenny Soprano Pickett's coming in. Shit, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun this year, man. 6 games. No, I say 7 games. Angelo said 6 games. I say you win 7 games. You need to lighten up, my man, Sills. Is part comedian. I'm not really a funny guy. Okay? I can't tell a joke to save my ass. Okay? Look at everyone getting a little bit twisted because your boy's got some competition now. Your general manager brought in a guy who was drafted, and he personally scouted. And he personally thinks can turn his career around in Philly. He personally scouted him. You act like New Jersey runs us, Sills. No. I actually have. Hey, always remember this about New Jersey, my friends. There's a reason the Statue of Liberty faces the other way. So everybody in New Jersey can kiss everyone in New York's ass. That's all you need to know about New Jersey. There's a reason the statue faces the other way. Okay? Always remember that. The Statue of Liberty faces the other way so everyone in Jersey can kiss her ass. So, it's, just to keep it fair here and keep everybody on their toes. Okay? Jalen has nothing to fear. Only one that thinks is you. Jalen has nothing to fear? Really? Guy making $55 million with 18 turnovers? You heard Angelo Cataldi say it. That guy won 7 games this year. He's out. They'll make a move. They'll know he's not the guy. What they'll basically do is they'll treat him like Kyler Murray. This is his year not to be Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray won 11 ball games one year. That's how he got that contract. He got that $46 million contract, and he was competing in a division with Kyle Shanahan, Pete Carroll, and Sean McVay. A little different than Ron Rivera, Brian Dable, and Mike McCarthy. Okay? Saquon's 101. He was okay in New York. He wasn't great. I can name you 4. Dude, the guy Joe Mixon was better. The guy Joe Mixon, who that guy Jake Browning was his quarterback last year, had a grand. Jake Browning was his quarterback. Jake Browning. He's a better pass catcher, and the Texans just extended him. Barkley played well. He didn't get a grand on a shitty team. They had a bunch of different quarterbacks in Cincinnati. Like I said, the guy Josh Jacobs, he's put up better numbers. Shit, McCaffrey's been superior. Shit, man, the guy DeAndre Swift had a better year last year. He was the Pro Bowl back. Yeah, Barkley, man, in the last 4 years, Saquon Barkley has averaged, what was the total? 2,800 yards he's had in 4 years. 700 yards, and you guys paid $13 million for a guy who, in the last 4 years, has averaged 700 rushing yards a year. Okay. We'll see. We shall see. I'm not buying him because I don't think you know how to use him. I don't think the quarterback's good enough to get the ball to him. I think you got two different things working here. I don't think Hurts is good enough to spread the ball around. And I've never thought that. I think Barkley is a good player. I'm not saying he's bad. He's a really fine talent who's often injured. And for the record, I never wanted Swift back. I think he's a one-year wonder. He's another Miles Sanders. Okay? But both those guys were Pro Bowlers. Okay? If you don't know how to use Barkley, then you need to be fired. Why? They don't know how to use Goddard. He complained last year about being used in his place in the passing game. Did he not? That was after week 3. Or did you miss that? Or did you miss AJ screaming at Hurts because he wasn't getting more targets? Did you miss that too? But now you add Saquon Barkley to the mix because I'm sure that will settle it. Okay. If Saquon didn't come to the Eagles and went somewhere else, Daniel Williams Sileo would be singing his praises. No, I never thought he was a special back after his knee injury. What's wrong with that? Hey, we'll agree to disagree, dude. Get over yourself. I think Henry. Hey, I'm with Henry. I think that guy in Baltimore with that old line, I think Derrick Henry's going to run himself into a surefire first ballot Hall of Fame career. Because I don't know. Personally, Saquon Barkley does not push. Hey, here. Who wins the Super Bowl first, Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson? He's got Derrick Henry, and you got Barkley. Who wins the Super Bowl first? My money is on Lamar. They cut Wentz, so Hurts ain't safe. Andy, Doug, Sirianni was fired, so somebody's safe. So I say nobody, but okay, Death Row. Okay? Look at why are you bringing that in there, man? Henry's a Hall of Famer. Barkley's a Penn Stater Hall of Famer. Dan Sileo. Barkley's not a Hall of Fame player. He'll never be. Derrick Henry's a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah. And? Yes. Thank you. I like Lamar, but he chokes. Who, against Mahomes? Oh, I see. And you lose to Baker Mayfield. Congratulations. It's quite a dynamic. Lamar Jackson lost in the playoffs to Patrick Mahomes. You lose to Baker Mayfield. Okay. Yeah. And Andy Reid. And you lose to Todd Bowles. No, you're killed by Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I see the comparisons. Shit, Todd Bowles was just won a ring, though, as a coordinator, so I don't know. He goes, I blame the coordinators. Of course you do. Don't ever put it on player accountability. Like when Bryce Harper's not having a good 20-game stretch, it's the hitting coach, right? Of course. Hey, keep your eye on the ball. Think about how dumb those takes are. Okay? Hey, keep your eye on the ball. You know, if you want, move off the plate a little more. Maybe choke up. Maybe that might help. Hey, Bryce, choke up a little bit. You know, it might help. My offense. Why is Henry a Hall of Famer but not Barkley? Because he's better and done more? And his numbers are superior? And he's been on a shitty team? And he's been at least to an AFC title game? You're not comparing Saquon Barkley's numbers to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards. This guy's been a tomato can the last 4 years. A tomato can. On a tomato can giant organization. John McMullen's going to join us about the spectacular signing of Devin White and why everyone passed on him in the first couple days of free agency. And even his contemporaries got bigger deals, and he's on a one-year prove-it deal. And, you know, like you guys say, even the cap hit's not a lot. It's a one-year deal, and he can make up to 7.5. Okay. And like you said, well, Pro Football Focus, Sills, isn't the end-all. Okay, you're right. Well, then why'd the Bucks move off him? He's 26. Patrick Queen just got an $18 million 3-year contract per year in Pittsburgh. Who doesn't pay that kind of money? But your guy gets a one-year prove-it deal. Gee, that's not an opinion. That's actually what went down. Okay? And at least that's exactly what went down. Yoo! This Eagle team was changing every 5 minutes. Love it. Why did the Ravens move off of Patrick Queen? Because they're not going to pay 2 linebackers $20 million annually. That's why I told you yesterday, you look at a guy like Dre Greenlaw. If you're the Eagles, try to make a trade for him. I know he's banged up in the Achilles. That's the kind of stuff you move. Look for big money linebackers and look at teams that have big money linebackers because the odd guy out would be the other guy. And he's probably pretty good. Barkley has more yards per rush than Henry and has more receiving. Dude, are you trying to tell me that Saquon Barkley has more rushing yards than Derrick Henry? Per rush? Dog, I'm not even going to look that up, Dirty D. Saquon Barkley is not a Hall of Famer. I've had 3 Hall of Fame guys come on and say Henry's going. Are you nuts? Yards per carry? What is it, 4.1 to 4.3? Get the fuck out of here. That guy is a fear factor running back. That guy doesn't strike fear in me from New York, now in Philly. Derrick Henry running at you? Here, let me ask you this. Who do you think defensive backs fear more when one guy's running at him? Hey, Xander, who would you fear more running at you? Saquon Barkley or Derrick Henry? Look at Yale says that the Eagles stopped Henry. Well, Saquon's 0-10 versus the Cowboys. He's 0-10. Okay? He's 0-10. So I think we're just going to get John McMullen on here audio-wise. And when it you can see in the 65. Hey, John, thanks for taking a couple minutes with us. I really appreciate it.
No problem. How are you, Dan?
Oh, good. Hey, I was going to start it off with the Devin White move, John, but let's go to the Kenny Pickett. Your takeaway first initially when you saw the move and the trade that was made to bring Kenny Pickett into the Eagles organization.
Yeah, the Eagles liked him a lot coming out of college, and Howie Roseman did a lot of homework, even went to watch him personally, and obviously it was a situation where he ultimately ended up being a first rounder, so he was never got to play seriously for the Eagles, but they've always liked him as a player, and we know this team probably values the backup quarterback spot more than any other in the NFL with their recent history. And but things have to change a little bit from a financial perspective because of Jalen Hurts' extension. So to get a quarterback on his rookie deal over the next 2 years at least, it's really cost effective. A little bit under $2 million. I think it spikes to about 2.5. So if you look at what backup quarterbacks are getting, they paid Marcus Mariota $5 million. He got a raise to $6 million to go to Washington. So they're getting a little bit of a deal, and they get a guy they like. And if the worst happens to Jalen Hurts, which you never hope for any player, but I think they believe that the season wouldn't be over if they had to pull the ripcord and go to Kenny Pickett.
John, let me throw this at you here. And look, he struggled in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh struggled. They've had 25 touchdown passes, John, the last 2 years. I mean, I think that tells you all you need to know on the offense, and that's why Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, was replaced. Pickett replaced himself. So I go here. Quarterback Jalen Hurts struggles last year, especially down the stretch. The coach is on a hot seat. And I'm not suggesting in any way he's being brought in to pressure Jalen Hurts, but boy, I'll tell you what, that puts a little bit more gasoline on the environment. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a player being in the locker room, an NFL locker room like I was, if somebody told me, okay, well, he's not being brought in to take your job, but I had a bad year the previous year, I don't know, man. I mean, it wouldn't bug me, but I would think about why are they doing this? Does that make sense?
A little bit. Look, I think that's what happened with Carson Wentz when they drafted Jalen Hurts, but I do think the mentality of the players is a little bit different here with Jalen Hurts. I don't think it's going to affect him nearly as much anytime you bring in somebody with a pedigree of a first-round pick. But as you mentioned, I think it's, the Eagles aren't certainly considering it as pushing Jalen Hurts. I mean, I wouldn't agree with the assessment that he had a bad season last year. He certainly took a step back for the first time from where he was the year prior, runner-up for the MVP. But that's a pretty high level. I think he's still, if you look at the league as a whole, he was still a borderline top 10 quarterback. So I don't think there's any concern from any avenue that Kenny Pickett is here to push or Jalen Hurts is going to view it that way. I think maybe that's some leftover angst from Eagles fans who saw how Carson Wentz reacted, and it's a completely different personality. You saw what Jalen went through in college, and it didn't affect him, and I don't think this is going to affect him at all.
John, the Devin White sign.
Plus, he's got a $255 million contract to lean on.
Yeah, but then again, hey, Wentz had a deal too.
Yeah, he did, and even that tells you how quickly things move in the NFL. He once had the record for dead money, and we all were like, "How are the Eagles going to take on that dead money?" And Denver took on, I don't know, $85 million for Russell Wilson. So that's how quickly it explodes. His deal is much bigger than Carson's. It's just not the same thing. I get why some Eagles fans will go down that route, but it's just a different guy, different personality, different circumstance.
John, this Devin White sign doesn't make sense to me, and I kind of tuned you on a little bit this morning, and I heard your take. If you could expand on it again, I mean, geez, man. I mean, Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow had higher ratings and grades.
Way higher. Way higher. Not only higher, way higher. I mean, Devin White was one of the worst linebackers in football last year, and he got benched. Even amongst NFL decision makers, pedigree's a real thing, and they have a hard time putting it in the rearview mirror. And the fact that this guy was the number 5 overall pick at one time, he's getting chance after chance after chance. He's proved to be an undisciplined player. He's been one of the worst linebackers in the NFL when it comes to run support. And think about that when I say that. Who's in front of him? In
Vita
Vita
Vea.
Vea. I mean, he should have one of the easiest jobs when it comes to run support in the NFL, and he's still bad at it. And you see Levante David, who plays next to him, is really good at it. He's very athletic. You know, he had that run in the playoffs, which I think it's one of the biggest anomalies because he truly looked like the number 5 overall pick in a 3-game run to the Super Bowl. And he never looked like it again before or after. You know, I see Eagles fans who haven't watched him play, and I encourage to watch him play. Anybody who has $99 of disposable income, go get NFL, whatever they call it now, Plus or Game Pass. Yeah, it's all there. We're not making it up. He made that Pro Bowl team because he had 9 sacks. So the one thing he can do is go straight ahead and rush the passer because he's a tremendous athlete. Well, Vic Fangio doesn't blitz quarterbacks. That's not his scheme. So this is one where I believe the Eagles were in on a number of linebackers, weren't able to get them. And it's starting to get late in the process and things are getting picked apart. And remember, when the draft is coming up, you always want to draft-proof your roster. So you always want to have a guy in place so you don't have to feel, oh, it's the 5th round. I have to take a linebacker here. To me, this is how he draft-proofing his roster. This doesn't prevent them from adding somebody else, whether it's in the draft. And you better hope they add somebody else. That's all I'll say. Try to be nice.
John, I know that you're swamped for time, so a couple more questions here to you. I look at this Josh Sweat restructuring. You know, people are like, well, and I said it earlier, well, he's staying. And then I thought about it. Kind of looks a little bit more inviting for a team to make a call now, doesn't it? That they've restructured a contract for him, that potentially a team could come in and they could still move the player. Or do you think that he's here to stay and that Reddick is now out?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this whole situation has been kind of crazy. I do know there's no way they're keeping 3 $10 million edge rushers. And in the case of Reddick with a rework deal, it's probably going to be 20 at the bare minimum. You have Huff at 17, and now you have Josh with the rework deal. I find it very hard. And they want it, by the way, Brandon Graham's still here, and they want to get Nolan Smith involved. So, there's too many chairs, too many bodies for the chairs when the music is going to stop. So somebody's leaving. They gave them guaranteed money, so they'd be on the hook for it. So I believe this is an indication that Josh is going to stay, and probably Haas is going to be out the door. Could they keep 3 $10 million plus edge rushers? I guess anything's possible, but boy, it would be shocking to me, even though they value the position.
Final question for you, John. Eagles free agent, when you look at everything here on defense, and if they move if they move Reddick, to me, the Bryce Huff deal looks like a lateral move where you just move the money over to him that you were paying Reddick. The Gardner Johnson, I think you and I are in agreement. He's a ball hawk. He's out of position sometimes, not the best run fit, but he's a game-changing, playmaking guy. I like the deal. And then you look at Devin White and you go, okay, you got another guy on the team that can't stop the run. I mean, so to me, I look at the defense, and I just had Angelo on with me, and I'm like, I don't see where they improved.
Well, I think the hope with Huff is that, to me, that's obviously a projection, and the fact that you're saying that you think he's an ascending player, and essentially you're going to get him at similar money that what you had Hassan Reddick for, but he's younger and the shelf life is going to be longer. So you're trying to flip that over, and maybe their thought process on Reddick is he's going to be 30. Better to give up on a player a year early than a year late. And they're trying to flip it over from that standpoint. So everything's always about projection. If they get Bryce Huff right, and man, there were a lot of teams in on Bryce Huff. Everybody was trying to get him in the NFC East, it seemed. The Giants were trying to get him. Washington was trying to get him. The Jets were trying to get him back. The Vikings were trying to get him. A lot of people think this kid is going to be a big-time pass rusher, and the Eagles were able to get him. So if they're right, I think it's going to look pretty good. But, you know, on the surface, you've already seen the production of Hassan Reddick. But I will say those pressure percentages are more indicative than sacks of consistency of how you're pressuring the quarterback. And he was at 22%, which is pretty stinking impressive.
John, let me sneak one last one in here when it comes to the money or the position that's been addressed with the money. What have you been more surprised at? The fact that they spent money at linebacker on a risky player, and also risky with Barkley's injury history over the last 4 years, the money that's being thrown around, or the fact that they addressed those positions?
Oh, the money at running back. When the real numbers come out, remember the original numbers are agent driven. When the White contract numbers come out, I almost guarantee most of that is going to be incentives. He can earn up to $7.5 million. So I don't even think they spent significant money on him. With Barkley, obviously, they spent significant money, significant guaranteed money, and they seem to believe this guy is a generational player. And I don't know. I haven't seen it. Now, he didn't have the greatest supporting cast. I heard you say it's not his fault. What is he, 0-10 against the Giants?
0-10 versus the
0-10
Giants.
against the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
I think he's 25, 48-1 when he plays. I mean, the Giants just stink that majority of the. So it was about way more than Saquon Barkley. But I do know true generational players, and I got to cover Adrian Peterson up close, who was the MVP of this league with Christian Ponder as his quarterback. Guys who are that good find a way. And I didn't see Saquon Barkley finding a way.
Absolutely. When the wife is more famous and you're Christian Ponder and your wife's more famous than you, you know, you got a problem at quarterback, right, John?
Well, anybody who saw Christian play knows that Daniel Jones might as well be Phil Simms compared to Christian Ponder.
Well, I'm going to kick him to the curb anyway because he's a Florida State guy. But anyway, hey, John, thank you so much. I appreciate it, my friend. Don't forget to catch John on Birds 365. Thank you, John.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
You got it. John McMullen. Yeah, she wears Christian Louboutin shoes. That's what she tells everybody. So it's all good. Absolutely. When we come back, baby, we got to light the fire on. Oh, baby. Look at this roster, man. That defense. Say it with me. Gangrene. 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 How about gag green? That's what we're going to start calling your Eagle defense. You didn't get better. You're not better on defense. You think you're better. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at JAKIB. At JAKIB we offer three major services. The first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give JAKIB a call or check us out online.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills. Yeah, that's the new name of your defense, Gag Green. That ain't Gang Green, dog. That thing's Gag Green. Not a chance in hell. You know, I'll tell you one thing, though. I will say this. I got asked a question yesterday about, because we had Brad Sham on yesterday. And someone asked me a question about the Cowboys versus the Eagles. And I said this, I go, well, the Eagles are superior to the Cowboys. They said, how do you say that? I go, and I of course, Cowboy fan, he is more in denial. Eagle fans are delusional. Supetta back, Sills, how are we working? It's a good backup piece. I'm a fan of that. So I got asked the question. I go, what's the difference between Eagle fans and Cowboy fans? And I said, well, Eagle fans are crazy about their team in a good way. Cowboy fans are delusional about their team in a bad way. Like the Cowboy fan, he thinks that 96 or 95 happened yesterday. Whereas the Eagle fan gets pissed off if you win a game 17-14. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You guys are more like this, okay? Don't you agree? Like the Eagle fans, you're like, hey, Sills, I did not like the way we're playing at 10-1. Cowboy fans will tell you you're fucked up for saying anything critical. And some of you said that to me. Okay? Somebody said, okay, what'd you say? LJ said, finally new content. Devin White signing last night. Pickett signing today. Week of free agency. When did I talk about that last week? I don't regurgitate the same bullshit. I don't even know what I talked about yesterday. I've never done a show like that. where I get the same notes and do it over again. Everything we talked about has been things the Eagles have done in the last 24 hours. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just shit you want to hear. That's all it is. Now, back to my point before I was distracted by something. I forget. Anyway, Dallas fans, I told them, they go, "What? How in the world can you sit there and say the Eagles are better than the Cowboys?" I go, well, in the last 29 years, in 18 playoff games, the Dallas Cowboys are 5-13. Well, you're not looking at it right. Well, how else would you look at that? Say it with me again. The Cowboys, in the last 29 years, since they won a Super Bowl, have had 18 playoff appearances and they're 5-13. In that, do you understand that the Bengals have more playoff wins? In that time frame, the Jags have more playoff wins. I mean, Cowboys, in the last 29 years, you have 5 playoff wins. Jalen Hurts himself, how many playoff wins does Jalen have? 3? Let me see. The Super Bowl year, he had 2, lost the Super Bowl. So he's got 2. Okay, he's got 2. He's got almost half of what the Cowboys have in 30 years. That's crazy. And they have not advanced to one conference game. Cowboy fan looks at me and goes, "You're lying." I'm like, of course you would say that. I mean, of course you would say that. It's crazy to even go down that route when you're talking about the Cowboys. I mean, all right, let's get back over to our boys on defense. By the way, Edgerrin Cooper is in Green Bay visiting on one of his trips. That's the guy for the last 2.5 months I've been telling you that I'm a fan of, and I would love to see that the Eagles end up signing him. Okay? Hey, Barb says Skip Bayless likes Hurts. Yeah, because he played at Oklahoma. No other reason. Because he played at OU. Okay? All right? So I would say this to you. How many people in here believe your defense got better this week? Now, try not to act like Cowboy fans. How many people believe that you're better than what you had and put on the field last year? Sills, what team do you root for? Hey, Zeus, I don't root for any team. I really don't. I root for my Canes. Other than that, I don't root for a team. I like watching football. Okay? Philly D with a yes. Yeah, we're better. Where? Safety? Okay. That's debatable, but I like the move. The defense obviously got better with who? You got cheaper. You got cheaper. God, this is so good. You guys are sitting here rooting for a guy who's had 4 bomb years. Offense is better. Defense is not. Why? See, you know what? Xander's like one of the very few people that is I thought Xander was 36 years old when I met him. This guy's a really young dude with an old soul. But he just answered something as straightforward as you can get. Offense is better, defense is not. Okay? And he and I sees that we're different on the – I'm with John McMullen. I want to see Barkley do it before I sit there and say he's just going to do it because his last name is his name is Saquon Barkley. I'm not giving him that benefit. I don't give a shit what you did at Penn State. I don't care what you did in your first year. That's 5 years ago. All I know is Saquon Barkley the last 4 years has been pedestrian. 700 yards in the last 4 years is not quality running back material. Actually, maybe not without Kelsey. And that's a great – and now the Kelsey comment. Dude, the addition of Saquon Barkley doesn't cover the loss of Jason Kelsey. Just to put that out there. You think you got better, but then you got to counteract it with you lost an all-pro. Barkley's not an all-pro back. Kelsey's an all-pro player at a very vital position. Dan, it's not fair to ask that question when you don't have finished product. Ask it after the draft. So wait a minute. Here's a great example of Philly sports hustle being a delusional Eagle fan. You really think that your draft choices on defense have helped your defense the last 3 years? You're delusional. You're absolutely delusional. Nolan Smith is as like in hibernation as the Kobe Dean has been. Jordan Davis is showing you exactly who I said he was. A two-down player. You know, really, the only guy that really has shown you a lot of consistency has been Milton Williams. Jalen Carter has not shown you consistency. He's shown you that he has potential to be great. But where was he in the last 8 games? They were 1-7 and getting murdered in the run game. Okay? You're not, hey, what did Keith Byers say 2 days ago? You build your championship, hey Xander, when you try to explain this to non-football people, they just don't get it. Even your own hometown hero, Keith Byers, said it. You build your championship teams in the offseason and right now. You prove it in September. You prove it in September. You can't, you tried to do that shit last year. Okay? Seals, you're from the show me state. Damn right, man. I may not be from Missouri, but that's the state of mind I live in too. What's a negative today? The Devin White sign. Fangio's making the defense if picks this year. Yeah, right. If you believe that, you believe anything, which is not uncommon for some of you in here. Ain't no coordinator making personnel decisions versus Howie. Ask Doug Peterson how that felt. Doug's in Jacksonville because of that mentality. What are you, nuts? You think Howie Roseman's going to let somebody like Chip Kelly dip in his sandbox? You're out the door, dog. Nick Sirianni is still the head coach of the Eagles because he knows better not to play in that world. He has no say in the personnel. How about your head coach? No say on play calling, no say on the personnel, no say on anything. And he's still your head coach. And people like Bill and everybody love him. What's his job? So give us the guys you would have signed. Well, if you're going to spend money, here's what. Okay, that's actually a great call. Okay, not bad. I would have done this. I would have taken that $13 million that you spent on Barkley, ponied up a little bit more for Xavier McKinney, and I would have signed McKinney with that money. Then I wouldn't have wasted the Bryce Huff money on the same player. And if you're going to keep the same player, well, you're gambling that he's going to be Reddick. You have Reddick. You're gambling with Bryce Huff that he's going to be Reddick when you have Reddick. You get that, right? You heard John McMullen just say that. They're gambling. They're gambling that he's going to be Hassan Reddick when you have Hassan Reddick on your team. So, again, that decision to sign, look, I do see it. And I agree with John. There were a lot of people. I'll tell you this, the Cowboys and Washington were all over this guy. Okay? They were all over him. And they think somehow, now look, maybe you play him in a wide 9 and you kind of hide him. But you can't have him and Reddick. You just can't. They both can't play the run. Misspoke earlier. My bad tweet. Supetta actually signed with Bucks. My bad, Sills. Okay. So the Bucks got him. That's a good sign for the Bucks. Like the Bucks text me and said they believe they have one of the best free agent hauls they've had in many years. And that's after they got rid of Devin White. And now all of a sudden Supetta's trash. Okay. I do like that mentality, though. Okay? Absolutely. I would have signed Queen. Well, I don't believe they were in any of those. See, you know what they're doing? Some people are saying, hey, maybe they were in on Queen. No, they weren't. They weren't going to spend $18 million on a 3-year contract with Patrick Queen. They were never in on him. They may have kicked the tires on him. But where would you rather play if you're Patrick Queen? Right down the pike from Baltimore to Philly? Or would you rather play in Pittsburgh that still has a lot of question marks on the offense? Okay? Would you rather play with Jalen Hurts or Russell Wilson if you're Patrick Queen? You want to play with the quarterback that gives you the best chance and the bag of money. And he felt that's in Pittsburgh. Not in Philly. Because they probably didn't offer that. I would have turned around. If you're going to spend $9 million or $10 million or $13 million, I would have got the better running back, and I would have got him at less price. I would have got Derrick Henry at $8 million, and I would have got the better player. He's been the better player his entire career. His entire career. I wouldn't have signed Devin White. Now, good. Now, look, here's the one thing. Some of you are right. Well, Sills, what else are they going to do veteran-wise? They kind of got outbid at the position. Well, so it's a desperate. Do you not agree? This is a desperate sign. It's a desperate. Hey, and who's replacing BG? Nolan Smith? Have you figured that out yet? Or is that the draft pick? My guy. Chop Robinson. Remember, I told you that I think at 22, Chop Robinson's your pick. The kid from Penn State. That's who's replacing Brandon Graham. That's who, again, and it looks more and more like that they're going to go edge there. Got to replace Brandon Graham. He has nothing left. Okay? Look at everyone here with Team White, Devin White. When the Bucks, he's even signed by the Eagles on a 1-year prove-it deal. Sills, if White fails this year at linebacker, would it convince Howie to go back to his old ways and not spend on a linebacker? I don't know. Howie is just trying to make Eagle fans happy by signing big names, Devin White. I told you I think Milton Williams replaces Brandon Graham. They're not going to slide, Brent. So that, wait a minute. So you think they're going to go to a 34? Marshall, who's your 4 linebackers? Bryce Huff, Nolan Smith, Zach Cunningham, and Nakobe Dean? You're going to go to a football game against the Browns in that offense in Brazil with Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff, Nakobe Dean, and Devin White as your 4 backers, and your D linemen are going to be, and who are you taking off the field? Carter or Davis? So 2 guys you drafted consecutively in the first round. Jordan Davis at 13 and Jalen Carter at 9. You're going to take one of those guys off the field to run a 34 front? Really? What was the point of drafting 2 defensive tackles? So then you're calling Davis a bust, right? You're taking Davis off the field. If you're taking Davis off the field, he's officially a bust. If you're going to put Milton at an end, Josh Sweat, and then Jalen Carter, you're telling me you drafted at 13 a swing tackle? It's a waste pick. It's a wasted pick. Jordan Davis is now, in some of your eyes, a swing tackle, and you think that justifies Howie drafting, once again, shitty, absolute fundamental thinking process on defense if you have a swing tackle you took 2 years ago at 13. Wow. So wait a minute. Taylor Sweat's going to be a stand-up with his knees. A stand-up end. What is this fantasy football you guys are playing? Sweat's not a stand-up end. The greatness of Philly Godfather is going to join us. I can't wait to hear this guy, too. Can't wait to hear this man. Absolutely awesome. Power Hour coming up. Hit the like button. You keep it right here with Big Sills on the National Football Show.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
And the big story on Action News?
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sills! Look at what teams are doing now. By the way, the greatness of Philly Godfather would join us at the bottom of the hour. So let me throw this out here to you. Look at what teams are starting to do now when it comes to their respected quarterbacks in their own buildings. John Schneider went out and made a move for Sam Howell. You know, Gino, yeah, it's still his job. If you're Geno Smith, how you feeling about that? Yeah. Gino, it's your job. Okay, yeah. Still doing this, though, ain't you? Shit, the guy did throw for a shitload of yards last year. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's horrible. He's not awful. Then you're Trevor Lawrence, considered one of the better generational talents coming out of college. They made what? They made a trade for Mac Jones? Oh, shit. Is Doug happy with me? You got to remember, NFL players are the most insecure people on the planet because they're always thinking that their jobs are going to be taken from them, and they most likely are. The day you get comfortable thinking your job will never be taken from you and that you won't be replaced is the day you are replaced. Okay? Yale goes, the dude Braun is a pass rushing linebacker too. The one thing that Vic Fangio doesn't do is rush the passer with linebackers and blitzing. And those are the two things these guys do well. Hey, sounds like a good fit. Well, kind of, yeah. Now you got Hurts with Kenny Pickett. Pickett season. Pickett season. Oh, my God almighty. You know the coolest thing that I love, though, about this season and about the first week of free agency? I'd make the point to you with this. Finally, we're going to find out a lot about this football team and about Jalen Hurts. Here you go. You got all the pieces, guy. You couldn't do it last year. Your team fell apart. You couldn't hold it together. This is on you. It ain't no more on Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is no scapegoat here. This is Jalen Hurts season. You bet I'm going to get me a Jalen Hurts hat season. 2024. You know what it is? It's a come to Jesus year. Who is he? You've had 3 different years with him. And I don't want to hear anything out of anybody telling me that he's been consistent. He hasn't. He hasn't played a good game since the Super Bowl. Look at this. Wall Division says Pickett's a turd and your guy was second in turnovers in the league. Oh, no. That's horrible. Horrible. 18 turnovers. How you doing? He's been consistently inconsistent. Correct. He's been 3 different Jalen Hurtses. Look at Jimmy Garoppolo to Sean McVay. Shit. Ram season. Shit, the Rams are better than the Eagles right now. You know why? They got a better coach. They got a better quarterback. Yeah, the quarterback's won a Super Bowl. They got a head coach who's won 2 conference titles. He's not 40 yet. He's not 40. They drafted 2 dudes last year, not in the first round, who made the Pro Bowl. And Puka Nacua and the defensive tackle they got from Wake Forest. Impact players in the draft. Who would have thunk it? They got a ton of money, 11 picks, and a great coach. And an organization that knows what they're doing. Woo! Woo! So let's reset. Big news of the night. Them signing a linebacker that the Buccaneers picked in the 5th pick and said enough is enough. We don't want him anymore. Here, let's just do this and not have an opinion. Let's just go by what's happened. The Buccaneers benched him. Who was the kid's name they benched him for? I think he was an undrafted rookie. KJ Britt, they benched him for. And he's an upgrade. It's almost like the TJ Watt or the TJ Edwards deal. You signed Nicholas Merle. Jesus, man. Hey, Xander. Who would have ever thought that I missed Nicholas Morrow? It's Zach Cunningham. These guys had superior grades to your boy Devin White. Superior grades. Who would have thought I would have missed them dudes? You didn't upgrade. Damn! And you signed Kenny Pickett today. Now, look, again, I agree with John. And look, I'm having fun with Kenny Pickett. Okay, but here, hey, do I think Kenny Pickett is a great player? No, I do not. But what I don't like is, I mean, you know what? Maybe I should think it's better because, I just got through telling you guys, hey, you put people on notice when you do shit like that. In a small way, you put people on notice. Now, look, I think if they bring Tyler Huntley in, I think that's a big message. You bring in Kenny Pickett, it's a subtle message. Can we agree to that? That's kind of a subtle message. Kenny Pickett, baby. Say it with me. Kenny Pickett, New Jersey's finest. Yeah, you're going to have New Jersey Mafia coming down. And you know what they're going to be doing at Lincoln Financial? They're going to be going, Kenny. As soon as that dude throws 2 picks. You bet. Hey, not that I like anything. Before I get my guy, Philly Godfather, in here, and I want him to know this, and I said this earlier in the program, not that I like a lot of things from Jersey because, like I told you, the reason the Statue of Liberty faces the other way, so everyone in Jersey can kiss their ass. Okay? That's why the statue faces the other day. So I don't want anyone to think I've fallen in love with that thing. But the only man that could probably match Jeffrey Lurie when it comes to buying yachts, my man, Philly Godfather. How you doing, brother?
I wish, man. He stole that Eagles team when he first bought it. You can think about it. What a great deal. He made a great move behind him.
Dude, look at Jerry Jones. He bought the team for $150 million. Now it's worth $10.7 billion.
Wow, what a return. I mean, you couldn't get that in the market over those years. That's a great move, man. If you can buy an NFL team, go out there and buy one.
Hey, how about this one? I'll give you another one. Spanos took over for Gene Klein and spent only $54 million for the Chargers. Now the team's worth $3 billion.
Wow, it's insane, right? That's insane money.
And gambling, right, is now going to escalate the values of these teams because now the money that's being thrown around.
Yeah, it seems like everyone you talk to, I mean, women, men, no matter what the age demographics are, it seems like everyone's betting on sports, whether it's $1, $50 or $1,000. seems like everyone's getting down these days.
All right. Let's first, I was going to start out with this ridiculous Devin White move, but I'm going to go with this Kenny Pickett move. And before you respond, I want to throw this out. I'm not saying that this guy is spectacular, but what I am saying is that a subtle message or is that a loud message that, hey, just like in Jacksonville, Mac Jones is brought in behind Trevor. Sam Howell's brought in behind Geno. I mean, how do you read that? Because, again, I'm not suggesting he's really great or anything, but, man, 2 years, and he personally scouted him when he went up and saw him play against North Carolina when he was at Pitt. How do you look at this?
I don't think Hurts has anything to be worried about. I think it's more of a move because they lost their backup, Mariota. He left, so you got to bring someone in, and they stole him. I mean, you got him for basically peanuts, and he could start. So it's the best of both worlds. I think it's a good move by Howie, but I don't think Hurts has anything to worry about.
Better not throw 2 picks right away, or Jersey Mafia is going to be rolling around in that thing.
Jersey Mike's showing up with the crew.
Hey, they'll be calling him Kenny Soprano pretty soon. If that guy throws a couple picks, remember this. Always remember something with small hands. Okay? A lot of things look bigger in your hands when you got small hands. I'm just looking there, going there. All right. Let's go to this Devin White thing. I mean, I never thought that I would yearn for the day of Zach Cunningham and Nicholas Morrow, but they signed a guy who in 5 years had one really good year, and the rest of those years, the Bucs just said this, forget it. How do you look at this?
I mean, his production has fallen off each and every year since 2020. It's like falling off a cliff. He went from 140 combined tackles, 97 solo tackles, 9.5 sacks in 2020. What do you have last year? I don't know, 83 combined tackles, 49 solo, 2.5 sacks. So his numbers have dropped off each and every year. I think they gave him too much money. I wouldn't have brought him in, but, if he can perform a little better than he has been over the last couple of years. But it's been almost half a decade. I mean, it's been 4 years since he's, shown some brilliance. So I wouldn't have done it, but maybe Howie knows something I don't.
Yeah, not on defense, you don't. And I'm going to throw this at you here, too. So you look at his contemporary in Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen signs a 3-year, $18 million deal. This guy gets a 1-year prove-it deal where you can bow out of this thing. And you got people around here going because they saw him as the 5th pick in the draft, as being a savior. And get this, the number one thing they're saying that he can't do is stop the run. So did they get better on defense?
The odds makers don't think so. Their odds really haven't changed much. Cowboys and the Eagles are still basically tied to win the NFC East, and the Cowboys haven't made any moves. Odds to win the Super Bowl, 49ers plus 550, Detroit plus 1,200. Then you got the Cowboys and the Eagles at 17-1, along with the Packers at 18-1. Not much movement in the line. And you really got to pay attention to the sports betting market because, like we've mentioned in the past, it takes big money to move those prices. And those guys are the sharpest guys in the world. They back their opinion with millions of dollars. It's not like, some guy going on TV and giving you his opinion and he hasn't backed it up with cash. These guys put their money where their mouth is. So if you don't see no movement in the market, I don't know if these moves are really paying off for the Eagles, next season.
Did it shock you that the Steeler number didn't move when it came to the signing of Russell Wilson? It didn't really move much, did it? I mean, you would have thought that was going to be an improvement on the Steelers there, but are you shocked a little bit that number didn't go up, giving them a better odds?
Not really. That division's so stacked. I mean, it is. Healthy. Ravens are still tough, even though Lamar chokes in the playoffs. They're still tough during the regular season. That's just that division's stacked. So Russell Wilson has a lot of work to do if the Steelers are going to compete and actually have a chance of winning that division next season.
All right, what do you make of the Barkley sign?
I mean, if you got 2 sports cars in your driveway and your roof needs to be replaced, do you go out and buy another sports car? There's only one football, and I can see it now. I can see A.J. Brown on the sidelines bitching and complaining he's not getting the ball enough. How many mouths can you feed on it? Their offense isn't the problem. I think they spent the money in the wrong place. I think they should have got Queen, like you said. But we'll see. I mean, he's a game changer, and when he's healthy, I mean, he's like I don't want to say he's McCaffrey, but he's McCaffrey-ish. And if the Eagles are rolling and everything's clicking their way and, they're firing on all cylinders in the playoffs, they become extremely dangerous. But like I said, not much movement in the sports betting market. So that tells me, I don't know. I wouldn't have paid $12 million a year for him.
How about this, too? Last 4 years since the injury, he's at 2,800 yards. Joe Mixon and Josh Jacobs, those guys are better. Derrick Henry, you could have got cheaper, and you got back. I mean, do you think what is going to hurt this team more, the loss of Jason Kelce or the addition of Saquon Barkley?
Jason Kelce, he's unreplaceable. I told you before, guy's a rock star. He's the center, touches the ball in every possession, second most important person on the field at any given moment. Guys like that are hard to replace. And then you look at their fourth down conversion rate from last year, 3%, 75%. Without him playing center, is it going to be that high? Are they going to be able to extend those drives to give the Eagles, more chances to win the game? The cohesiveness early in the season, that could be a problem with their offensive line. As you've taught me in the past, it takes time for that offensive line to start gelling. If I'm Howie Roseman, I step to Jason Kelce and I make him an offer he can't refuse. And if they do that and they bring him back, this team becomes extremely dangerous very quickly, even though they had that bad stretch last season, 1-6 down, towards the end of the season. But there's still, listen, there was a lot of animosity in that locker room, and hopefully it doesn't linger on to this season. But they had some issues. Sirianni lost the team last year. Jalen Hurts alienated some players, but this is going to be a brand new season. So it really depends on if they can pick, if they can make an offer to Kelce and he comes back, this team's really dangerous.
Angelo said earlier on the program he thinks this is a 6-win team.
No, I don't think they're a 6-win team. They still got so many weapons on offense.
Yeah, but that defense, man,
Yeah,
it's
but they brought
terrible.
back CJ. I mean, CJ, if you remember 2 years ago,
That's he's not special when it comes to being a technician, but the one thing he is special at is that he makes plays. You know what I mean? I mean, you're going to eat sometimes a guy who's not a good technician versus a guy who's going to make a turnover play for you. You know what I mean? I mean, he's always around the ball is my point.
he's a ball hawk and he makes game-changing plays. Like you said, he had 6 interceptions 2 years ago. Eagles only had 16 on the season. They lose him. You saw what happened to that defensive backfield. Hopefully he hasn't lost a step from that injury and he can come back and play at an optimum level, because if he doesn't, the way he left Philly, those Eagles fans are going to be on his ass if he has a down year. So hopefully he hasn't lost a step and he can help this team out, because with him back there, I think they're a lot better, but they still have a lot of holes to fill.
I want to play a little game with you here now. Who has a better season? The Eagles or the Rams?
Man, they lost Donald. That's huge. I think the Eagles have a better season. I still think they're the better team, even though the Rams have a much better head coach, probably the better quarterback. But the Rams are losing some key players, and that's going to hurt them on the defensive side of the ball.
Who has a better year? Eagles? Chiefs?
You can't quantify greatness, Dan. I'll never bet against the Chiefs. Never. I wanted to bet the 49ers so bad because they had the better team, and I ended up betting the 49ers in the first half and the Chiefs full game in the Super Bowl. I ended up winning both wages, but man, it's the Chiefs. I think that, when you got Patrick Mahomes back there, their season win total set at 11.5. I think the Chiefs have a better year.
Who has a better year? Eagles? Ravens?
Ravens are still stacked, but they have lost some players.
Henry.
The Falcons might have a better year than the Eagles.
Who?
The Falcons.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this, and I've been barking this thing. That guy's made $412 million in his career. Brady made $375.
Wow.
That shows you how crazy. Hey, does that move? Doesn't it also show you, too, that guys like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins, that there's a talent deficiency at that position in the league? When you got guys like that make that kind of money, that could still command that kind of money, that there is a deficiency at the quarterback spot.
Well, there's like 5 or 6 elite quarterbacks, and there's a huge drop off after that. And then you can just, put this guy at number 7 or number 8 and flip flop him. But Kirk Cousins, right now, his passing yards are set at over 4,100 yards. So they're expecting him to have a big season. Out of all the football teams so far, the Falcons' odds to win the Super Bowl have dropped the most. They're down to 22-1. The Eagles are 17-1. So,
So wait a minute. So you have just almost as good odds of taking the Falcons as you do the Eagles?
Yeah. I mean, the Falcons are going to be tough. They're going to be much better. They're going to have an easier schedule. The Bears are going to be tough to beat. They're going to have a last place schedule. But to me, the Packers at 18-1, 19-1, that's the team that scares me the most in the NFC.
Who has a better season, Packers or Eagles?
I think the Packers do.
Packers add Josh Jacobs too.
I think they win their division. I think Detroit doesn't win it this year. Already better. You can get like plus 225, a little over 2-1 for the Packers to win the division. As long as they're healthy. You saw what happened. At the end of the season, they got healthy and they got dangerous. Early on, they were banged up on their offensive line, and it showed. But that team's very dangerous as long as they're healthy.
Who would you rather have as your quarterback, Jordan Love or Jalen Hurts?
I don't know, man. I need another year of Jordan Love. I haven't given up on Jalen Hurts. Obviously, he's got more weapons than anybody. I mean, if you put Jordan Love on this Eagles team, maybe he plays better. The Eagles are stacked. They're everywhere. They got weapons, tight end, wide receivers, running back now. But their offensive line, big if.
Would you want Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts?
Lamar Jackson is dead to me.
Oh my God!
I talk so much
money got lost, and he lost to Mahomes.
Yeah, it's not that they lost to the Chiefs. It's how he performed in that game. Anytime he steps up, big moment, playoffs, he looks like trash. I mean, how great has he looked during the regular season? And then you see that huge drop off in the playoffs. They just shut him down. He's not that guy. And I'm not betting on him again in the playoffs. And I talked so much trash about Lamar over the years. And this year I gave him a chance. And they had me fooled. That defense was top 5. The offense was top 5. But in the end, Lamar Jackson performed like a mediocre quarterback against the Chiefs.
Who has a better year, Baker Mayfield or Jalen Hurts?
That division got tough. I don't know. Flip a coin. How about that?
Flip a coin between Baker Mayfield.
Flip a coin. Flip a coin.
Flip a coin between Baker Mayfield. Now we're getting. See, this is what I'm trying to pin you where I think you're looking at on who he compares to. I mean, Mayfield had a superior year to him.
Yeah, I mean, he played better than him last year, but Jalen Hurts to me still, I think he's the better athlete. He gives you more ways to win. I can't wait to see how this Eagles offensive line does without Jason Kelce at center, how they perform on 4th down. If they can't convert those 4th down plays, it's going to be a tougher season than most people think.
You think Jalen gets back to MVP type of season? I don't.
I don't think so. I mean, that's, that year you had record-breaking seasons, A.J. Brown. They scored the most first half points of any team in NFL history, I think, that year. Everything was clicking. Everything was going right. Everyone was a monster that season. It's hard to do that again. And he's definitely top 10. But if those turnovers continue and he keeps throwing interceptions and fumbling the football, this Eagles team's in trouble.
Have you been shocked with the fact the way the Eagles have spent money at now linebacker and have spent money at running back? Do you think that that's been a course direction by ownership and by the general manager that, I mean, look, like you said, hey, they bought 2 Ferraris when they only needed 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you had 2 Pro Bowl running backs, the last 2 seasons that were 2 different dudes. I mean, do you think there's been a course change?
A little bit. The Eagles are trying. I mean, you got to give them an A for effort. They're going out there. They re-signed Josh Sweat, which is huge. He's had 31 sacks over the last 4 seasons. That was Jake Elliott. I mean, who's more important to this team other than Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelce, and Jake Elliott? And Kelsey's gone. How many games did Jake Elliott win you over the last couple of years? I mean, that was massive. You had to sign him. Josh Sweat was huge. Huff, he had 10 sacks last season, but in his first couple of years, he wasn't as good. Now he got the big money. I think the Eagles kind of overpaid for him. But if you lose Reddick, you need someone to go in there after the quarter. And he's not good against the run either. He's not a run defender. So as long as he gets to the quarterback, who cares? But you might have overspent there. But at least you got something. I think more defense, spend more money on linebackers, safety. Instead of running backs would make me happier.
Okay, I'll take this here. I'm going to take this into a different direction here for a couple last questions. Sports-wise, at the end of this season in the off year, will Joel Embiid be a member of the Sixers, or will he not be a member of the Sixers heading into next year?
How do you get? I mean, you got to keep him. That's all they have. Without him, there's no team.
Why would he stay? Does he demand a trade?
Yeah.
Why would you stay? Where are you going?
Well, I mean, it's his home. He's been here for a while. He loves the fans, But yeah, if he wants to win a championship, I think he's got to get out of town. But I'm not sure.
No way, man. Hey, bags of money. You let me go to some place that gives me an opportunity to win, like New York.
Yeah.
Not that. Hey, look, that guy's a worse owner than Josh Harris, James Dolan. I mean, guy throws you out of the Madison Square Garden for wearing a sell the team shirt. I mean, that guy's the biggest toolbox going. Okay, here's another one. Caitlin Clark. Does Iowa win the national champ? Dude, I'll tell you this. Because of the way the bullshit NCAA shut down the March Madness because of COVID, I really haven't watched a lot of men's. I'm kind of getting back into it because I love talking to you about. And I used to really love the tournament, and I'm trying to get back into it. But I always thought that was a situation where they should never have stopped it. Okay, I never have stopped it. But I've been watching. I watched her against Nebraska in the Big Ten championship. Does Iowa win the national title, or is it LSU or South Carolina?
I mean, South Carolina, what are they, undefeated?
Yep.
They're 7-0 against top 25 teams. They've had probably the toughest schedule of any women's basketball team this season, followed by Iowa. I think Iowa's number 2. So their opponent rankings has been the second hardest. Yeah, I think it's going to be those two teams in the end. I think it'll be South Carolina and Iowa again. If you look at the top 25 teams, I think Iowa has the second best record against top 25 teams. So that's a little bit of an indicator to me that they can play with they're battle tested. So it's probably those two teams, South Carolina and Iowa.
Okay. How much do these conference tournaments like the Big East affect your takes when it comes to the NCAA tournament? Because UConn, Xavier, those are pretty good basketball teams.
Yeah.
Miller coaches Xavier now. I mean, there's some really good teams in that Big East. In your opinion, still UConn's tournament to lose?
Yeah, but motivation. I mean, they're already in the March Madness. You don't want to risk any type of injuries. Big game tonight against St. John's. I took St. John's plus 10, plus 9.5. That's a sleeper. I told you guys a couple of weeks ago.
You love Pitino.
Best coach in college basketball. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's better than him. You could have got him at 500 to 1, which was a lottery ticket. I'm not telling you to go out there and spend $1,000 on it. You want to put $10 on it, 500 to 1, brings you back some good return. Another team, James Madison this year, 31-3 record, beat Michigan State first game of the season. I just bet them today at 500 to 1. And I think both teams can win a couple games in the tournament. And then you can look to hedge and make some free money. But I'm on Purdue plus 750. UConn. I usually delete the team that won it last year for winning it following. It's so hard to repeat. So I don't, as great as UConn is, I don't think they can repeat again. Houston, I mean, their defense, they can shut you down. They're amazing. 6-2 against top 25 teams this season. Arizona, West Coast teams to me are a little soft. New Mexico's a sleeper out there on the West Coast. There's some good bets. There's going to be some good bets. Kentucky, most talented team probably in college basketball. The only thing I don't like about them is they shoot a lot of threes. So if they get cold, they could be in trouble. But come tournament time, who's got more talent than Kentucky? You can grab them at 20 to 1, which is a good bet. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Kenny Pickett season. Kenny Pickett, I want you to light a fire under Jalen Hurts' ass this year, because I want to see if this kid is who they think he is, because I don't.
You know what was a good pickup? Parker. They got him for $1 million. the wide receiver.
Yeah, no. Yeah, 31 years old. He
Yeah.
didn't have to spend a lot of money.
That was a good pickup. And I mean, if you look at the Chiefs during the Super Bowl, they had more than 8 guys targeted with receptions. So I think the Eagles are looking that way a little bit. Come playoff times, the more valuable assets you got on offense, you can really, shift the game that way. So, and even the 49ers last year, I think they targeted 7 or 8 guys in the Super Bowl as well. So that's huge. So the more weapons they have, I mean, God bless them, but they got to, I don't know if Hennessy's the answer. He's always banged up. He's a big, strong guy. Injuries have plagued him, but they got him for nothing. So if he can plug a hole, that'll help. But it's just so hard to replace Jason Kelce, man. They got to make him an offer he can't refuse. And then we'll start getting excited in Philly.
Always remember, small hands lead to big things. How can people find you? How can people find you, big dog?
Yeah, find me on Twitter at Philly Godfather. You can stop by the phillygodfather.com.
Absolutely, brother. I'll catch you next week. Thank you, my friend.
You got it, guys.
You got it. That is the Philly Godfather. Absolutely. I tell you, remember, small hands lead to big things. Hit the like button. Big Sills, keep it here, National Football Show.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and certainly the easiest when you're watching the NBA. And the NBA playoffs are almost here, and you can win money making picks. What are you waiting for? Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com and use the promo code WIN. An Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN. Get ready for the NBA and get ready for the NBA playoffs. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code WIN.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Does Saquon put Hurts over the top? Big Sills National Football Show. Just put him over the top. If he don't win the Super Bowl this year, according to you guys, no. Dave says no. Sorry, son. if you don't win a Super Bowl this year, or you're not right there, you're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Interesting. Slager just posted this. According to a report in the NY Post, Pickett was traded because he reacted all butthurt about the Wilson move, which followed him refusing to dress as an emergency quarterback this year. Sure. That's a great way to get out of a situation. And now that the Steelers are in that situation, you know what I would do if I were them? I would sign Tyler Huntley. That's what I would do. And I would put Tyler Huntley in the building and bring a quality guy like that in the room. Because I can't just have Russell Wilson walk in. Okay? I just can't have Wilson think that he walks in and just it's his job. And he has to compete for it, in my opinion. Okay? Levante David is a tremendous back. He is a tremendous linebacker. Okay? Right. Look at this guy, Sam. He's trying to convince you that Levante David is a bad player, but Devin White is good. Give me a break. That's why the Bucs are moving off a guy who was the 5th pick. Give me a break. Look at how anybody will try to spin shit into something where a guy has failed. Okay? I'm going to give you the good moves that I did like so far this week. Real quick, I want to hit on Aaron Donald. I hadn't seen this. And so I'm gonna throw this out here. Aaron Donald is retired after 10 years. And here's my take on him, on Aaron Donald. Has there been a better 3-time defensive player of the year? Who would I take over him? Probably Joe Green. Sapp. I don't know if I would take Bob Lilly over him. I might take Randy White over him. Randy was stronger and faster and could play the run. So if I had to rank my top 5 defensive tackles, Aaron Donald, I would put Joe Green. There's a reason they called him Mean Joe. Hey, Chris, Aaron Donald's a D tackle. Reggie's an end. Nobody can tie Aaron Donald's shoes. Really? He wasn't a very good run stopper, to say the least. I would say Joe Green, Sapp, Donald, Randy White. Who would be my 5th guy? Nobody from the Bears, Rams. Probably 5 would be Bruce Smith's an end. Okay, Bruce Smith played end. Strahan's an end. Interior D tackles. Joe Green, Warren Sapp, Donald, Randy White, probably Bob Lilly. Probably Bob Lilly. Those would be your three. Okay? Those would be your three. Okay, I got it, Sam. I got it. Okay. Strahan was handed a sack record by, but Strahan's an end. Okay. So Joe Green, Warren Sapp, and you want to know, if you want to take any one of those five guys and you want to take any one of them, I'll take the ones that are left behind. And Sue's not in that league with those five guys. Jerome would have been LP. He didn't last long enough. Fletcher Cox is not a top 5 defensive tackle at all. Ed Jones is an end. So I would probably put it in there that you would go Joe Green, 4 Super Bowls in 6 years. Sapp, I think he's a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Aaron Donald's a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. I think Sapp's better than Donald. And I don't really like Warren Sapp, even though he went to Miami. But trust me, that's not why I put him there, because he's a very unlikable guy. I'll leave it there. Yeah, Randy's from Delaware, actually, Chris, if I'm not mistaken. And Anthony Lear goes, who's Bob Lilly? Well, that's why I'm here and you're here, to educate you. Sapp an asshole or what? Denny, no comment. Okay. Look at Ben. Ben, let me hook you up on why you're an asshole and a moron. Reggie White's not a tackle, he's an end. Jesus, criminy. Before you make a dumb comment, why don't you know a little bit about what you're talking about? Deacon Jones is an end. Okay? Reggie White. Oh, I see. You're standing on an anthill. My mistake. Remember when we made that blindside shot? Alan Page is an end. Page, Eller, Larson, and I forget who the other, and Marshall. Okay? Those were that's the purple people leaders. Chris Jones working his way there? No. Probably top 15. John Randall's right there. Randy White is in my top 5. That's the guy kind of like I truly admired when I was a kid growing up was Randy White. John Randall's a good ball player, man. Tremendous ball player, actually. And he was a late round draft choice, too. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he came out of an HBC. Am I right when I say this? Didn't John Randall come out of an HBCU school? Shit, he may have been one of the last Hall of Famers go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame coming from an HBCU school. Because I know Shannon came from an HBCU. So I would say I thought that John Randall came from an HBCU school. I love when those schools get their kudos. Okay, I really do. Because some of the greatest players in the history of pro football come out of those programs. I'll tell you what I could do. I could put a HBCU Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Fame team together, and it'd be hard to beat. And it'd be hard. I might think that North Texas State, I don't know if that was an HBCU school back in the day when Joe played there. But Texas A, no, it's Texas A&I believe, Dave. I think it's Texas A&I that he played at John Randall. So, yeah, no. Okay, so again, absolutely. Now, again, I want to throw this at you. Here are the moves that I do like this week. You know, we talked about a lot of them not addressing the defense. I love the Gardner Johnson move. I love the restructuring of the Landon Dickerson. You know, he was a second rounder. You had to address it, and they did. That's a big move. It's a subtle move. And you know why I like it even more? Because it's reinvesting in your draft picks. That's a great pick. Okay, that's a great draft pick and a great move when you can reinvest back into your own guys. That's a great deal. That Landon Dickerson deal, the restructuring of Josh Sweat is absolutely a fantastic deal. Okay? The Barkley deal is a luxury deal. Other than that, I mean, the Bryce Huff deal is a lateral move. And the Devin White deal is a terrible move. So I'll tell you what, though, I will agree with Angelo on this. Here's the one thing that we have to do. Howie Roseman is taking swings. He's taking swings. That I'm not going to rip him for. And by the way, if they fail these moves, he's taking swings. My problem is all the swings he's taking now, he's going to need to. Because when it comes to addressing that defense, he's not good enough. And he's going to have to take as many swings as he can in free agency. Because when it comes to the draft and Howie Roseman and defensive players, he is an all-time bomb. He is not very good at that side of the ball, and we have seen it. Corner, linebacker, edge, he's not been successful. He's just not been successful. And that's going to have to be addressed, okay, on that side of the ball. All right. Great week, man. Ton of people jumping in with us. I think next week's going to even be a little more interesting as well, because now you're going to have to start preparing for the NFL draft. You got through your first wave of free agency here. Now you're going to get an opportunity to, get yourself ready for the upcoming NFL draft. And I do think as of right now here, 6 o'clock Eastern, I do think still that 22 pick is an edge rusher, and that hasn't changed. I appreciate you guys very much. Have yourself a spectacular weekend. Please do me a favor, hit the like button. Xander, Big Joe, thank you. We shall see you Monday, 2 to 6, and we will catch you on the flip side.